Cole, are you finally prepared to admit that Grant Williams is the best player on the Celtics?
You've never heard a counter argument from me on that, friend.
I guess I haven't, but a lot of people driving this, Jason Tatum, all this shit. No. I mean, I'm sick of it.
I mean, you talk about, you saw on display 2 all-time Game 7 bad strategies yesterday. The Suns being cowards, led by Arian's best friend. And Coach Bud just being like, that guy shot, 50, 40, 90. Leave him wide open.
Just let him shoot.
Let's see what happens.
Let him shoot, boys.
Grant Williams, there's only one player that's ever attempted more threes in a playoff game than Grant Williams, and that's Russell Westbrook in a game where he shot the ball like 45 times and lost. That's it.
That's pretty insane.
Listen, the Coach Bud said, hey, Giannis versus Grant Williams. I got my guy, you got yours. We'll see who comes out on top.
Rick Barnes Grant would inbound the ball and he would trail behind the point guard coming up the floor. And sometimes Bone would dish it to him and he'd have a wide open 3 at the top of the key. And if he took that in the first half and missed, Barnes would pull him out of the game.
That's college basketball.
And let him sit for 5 minutes before he finally had to put him back in.
I mean, he missed. And he could shoot his last year at Tennessee. That was
he got better.
That's part of why he got drafted. But his first year, he missed his first 25 threes, and they weren't all in one game against the Bucks. That was, I think it was Christmas when he finally hit a 3, and then he did this last night. It was very funny.
Love that guy.
Congratulations, Avery. Avery's in a good mood today, guys.
I'm in a great mood.
We get talkative Avery today because his Rangers advanced. Also, shout out to Game Time. We had a lot of people from Barstool that went to the game.
Yes, sir.
In the Garden, and it's because of Game Time. Game Time is the new ticketing app. You've heard us talk about it on this show and on others. It's super easy to score last-minute deals on tickets. You can go to sports events, concerts, shows, and they guarantee the lowest price. They cracked the code on how to score deals on last-minute tickets. It's all possible with the Game Time app. It's the biggest last-minute price drops that you can find anywhere on the internet. You can get the seats you never thought that you could buy. We love Game Time. I guess we got to go to some Rangers playoff games, huh? Avery, you going to keep going?
Yeah, I'm going to be at every one.
Let's go.
Now, Game Time is awesome. That we went a couple weeks ago, had awesome seats, and then the Braves game also.
Yep.
But we got to talk in regards to going to games.
Mm-hmm.
We have to discuss. Have you heard what Avery's take is?
Is Avery's take that if you download the Game Time app and you go to the account tab to create a login and you use promo code Macro, you get $20 off your first purchase?
That's how it started.
Terms apply. I think
that's all he's been talking about.
I think I've heard Avery say that, and it's controversial, but I got my boys back. I think it's true. There are a lot of people out there that they're like, if you use promo code Macro, you get a $19 discount. And to me, that's preposterous. It's a $20 discount. It's always been a $20 discount. Anyone that tells you anything else is lying to your face. I stand with Avery. I stand with Big T. It's a great take, Avery. $20 off when you use promo code Macro after you download the app and you go to the account tab to create your login on your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time, last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. What else were you going to say?
So we know you can save money with Game Time.
Correct.
On tickets. Avery was proposed with a scenario where he could make money. He was in this hypothetical.
It's a hypothetical.
In this hypothetical scenario, correct. He said he would rather go to Game 7 of the first round. No guarantee they win. No guarantee they win the Stanley Cup. Just go to Game 7 of the first round than get $1 million. And he's been pressed on this extensively this morning, and he's sticking to it.
I respect it.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Thank you. Finally, somebody.
No, I told you. You're the biggest Rangers fan in the world. There's no denying that now.
Yeah.
I do respect it.
I said $1 million is a lot of money, but it also wouldn't give me the same amount of joy as what last night gave me. And there was no guarantees it was going to happen, but the way it happened, I mean, there's just...
You don't think $1 million, but you could buy a house, a really nice house. You could buy a really nice car.
Yeah, maybe where Arian lives, or in Texas or in Tennessee, but not up here.
Where there's no state income
where there's
tax
no and that's not a shot at where that is.
That was absolutely a shot.
Arian, we talked about this in the car, right? It's cheaper to live down there. Aaron wanted to buy a place in New York. He said, he could do twice what he does down there than here. I'm just saying, it's a lot more expensive to live here. I work here. I love being here. I'm very happy where I'm at in life. Like I'm happy at Barstool, so I wouldn't give up anything in life. $1 million would obviously help a lot.
For one game, though.
Yes, but the one game means more to me than whatever I would buy with $1 million.
What if you had lost?
Then I'd have to live with it.
Dude, this is a very important monologue by Avery, because last time when he was talking, we had Suey season Avery, so it's good to hear him be very happy about where he is in life.
I'm so back.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that the Rangers won. It was awesome.
Yeah, and now make sure to check out TNT. Biz is going to be wearing a jersey with my last name on it. That'll be fun.
What was Biz's other bet where he had to shave his head?
That's with Whitney. That's still going on. It's now it's the Battle of Alberta. So whoever wins that series, either if Edmonton wins, Whitney's gonna have to. Biz is gonna have to shave his head. If Calgary wins, Whitney's gonna have to wear an earring for a month, like a Barry Bonds earring.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah,
I want the Barry Bonds earring. That would look good.
A month is a long time.
Especially on those ears that Witt's got.
And it's not just a Barry Bonds earring. It's like someone made a custom pink Whitney nip earring. It's gonna be heavy on that ear, so should be interesting.
Well, congratulations. I'm very happy
Thank
for you.
you.
So now we're on to the Hurricanes, right?
Yeah, we're on to the Hurricanes. It's going to be tough. Boston gave them 7 games. I think we can too. So
I like it. I still think of Carolina as being not a real hockey town.
Yeah, they're tailgating before games. It's interesting.
I like Raleigh. I do like the city, but still to me, that's Hartford's team, and it's always going to be Hartford's team. I feel bad for anybody that grew up in the Hartford, Connecticut area. That was the only thing that you had. Yeah. Literally the only thing you had going on. Coley's shaking his head like, no. Coley, they uprooted that team. They stole Brass Bonanza.
What happened to the Whalers is tragic. I don't feel bad for anyone from Connecticut about anything.
Okay.
Wow, Spider's going to come at you if he hears that.
Spider knows my stance on everyone in this fucking company knows my Connecticut is a road that connects New York to Boston and nothing more.
Hey, I went to college in Connecticut.
Connecticut has the greatest between Fairfield County and fucking Hartford, it's the greatest divide of a state I could
If you want to start slandering the Merritt Parkway, go ahead. But don't be slandering all of Connecticut. Quinnipiac's a great school.
I was wrong about something.
Is Quinnipiac a great school?
It's a great school. Wait, what's the question there? Where are you going with that?
No, it's a school. It's just America's safety school, and that's okay.
That's not true at all.
The state has Yale, and it has Quinnipiac.
Students have to go to college, too.
I hate you.
It's a fact, right? What's the admission rite to Quinnipiac? I'm
looking up the stats.
I like Quinnipiac. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of good people go there, and they seem like very. It seems like a fun place to go to college. But let's not act like this is an institute of higher learning.
It has a top 5 college to job ratio in the country. So
boy, it sounds like Johnson and Wales. What are we talking about?
No, that's cap.
The average ACT at Quinnipiac is 26. That's pretty good.
I don't know.
Hell yes.
Here's what I'll say: it's a New England college, so it's better than what the rest of the country has to offer. But it wouldn't be a top 20 New England college.
I will say, for it being a New England college, it was kind of crazy how much of a mix between Boston and New York we had. It was a clash of.
I think the best way to describe Connecticut is mid. Connecticut is just mid.
I think that's giving it too much credit.
Coley just hates Connecticut.
It's a mid, it's not New York, it's not Massachusetts, it's not as spicy as Vermont or New Hampshire.
Spicy Vermont.
That's what they call it.
It's just.
Isn't it the richest state?
Probably.
I think New Jersey's pretty high up there.
I think Connecticut might have the highest GDP of any state.
Probably.
The highest GDP? No.
Not GDP.
Sorry. Per capita.
Per capita.
Connecticut
income.
boasts the third highest ratio of millionaire households per capita. That's just Fairfield. I think Fairfield County is. That's because that's Greenwich, Darien,
New Canaan.
Yeah.
Not GDP.
Some of the best lacrosse players in the world come out of Fairfield County.
I think I'm leaning on ESPN and WWE to be funding that entire state. But it's a lot of rich people. A lot of rich people in Connecticut. And listen, I like Quinnipiac Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be on a lot of people's bad side.
Well, I don't
you're gonna
think
make a lot of people mad.
I don't think anybody that went to Quinnipiac is going to be like, we're actually a really, really good academic school. It's just not. That's fine. You don't need to go to a good college to get a job afterwards and to have a productive, successful life. I bet it's more fun to go to Quinnipiac than it is to go to Yale.
Have I ever shown you the picture of me and you when you came to visit?
Yeah.
So funny.
It's awesome.
I actually have a picture of, like PFT and Big Cat, and then walked in, and you were shaking hands with people, and you had your glasses off at first, and I have a couple pictures with it, and it was like, there's a shrine to have that I had a picture with you with no glasses. All my friends were like, can I see? Can I see? And that was like peak when you just didn't show it.
Didn't show it.
Okay. I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. Obviously we work at a place that's like different than like most normal jobs, so it's different, but do people check if you went to college where you say you did? Like, you've had other jobs. Did anybody ever call and check up? Like,
never.
You could just say you went to college somewhere for the most part, unless you're like working for the government.
Yeah, no, you can lie. It's very easy to get away with lying about that sort of thing. The problem is if you go into the workplace and there's somebody else at your job that also went to that school or a neighboring school, then you get into conversations. It's pretty easy to tell if somebody's just like bullshitting about it.
Well, like if you, let's say like I went to Tennessee for like 2 years and then like didn't finish, like you would obviously know everything you'd need to know to say you went there.
Right. So
I graduated.
I have a friend who went to a school and he went there for 2 years and then he went to another college that was like in the area, like a junior college type place. And then he just puts on his resume that he went to James Madison University for these 4 years, and no one has ever once checked up on anything that he said. You can get away with lying. It's pretty easy to do. Now, if you get into certain jobs, I'm sure like if you want to work in a hospital, if you want to be a doctor, they probably check up on your medical degree. I would hope.
I mean, I actually, at one point, I did have another job, and like basically using the school I went to, like, it was like football alumni, so that was how they'd like check, like, oh, like you played football there,
and they look you up,
and then they're like, oh, did you play with this guy? Because he was a freshman when I was a senior, and then it's like, oh yeah, I was a freshman when he was a senior.
I'm sure there are certain industries that do check. I think financial industries for the most part. If you want to get like your license, that's the thing. If you have to be licensed for your job, I think the licensing board usually checks up on that for you, but I don't think the actual.
Oh, but that's what the background checks are.
Yeah,
there's background checks.
I don't think the place of employment.
Whoa, what the fuck
really
was
looks
that?
Up. What?
Someone just turned red lights on?
No.
I think Billy's hallucinating, guys.
No, I swear to God, those red lights just popped on and hit me in the fucking face.
I think they were always on.
It's the first time you've looked up.
They were always on.
I swear to God.
How many lion's mane mushroom capsules did you take today?
That's a good point.
Billy, we got a classic whodunit going in the office. Billy claims that he came into work with lion's mane mushroom capsules. He was going to give me some just for focus. Now they're gone, and so he's been trying to figure out who pickpocketed him.
I have basically I checked when I got off the PATH train if I had them in my pocket. I did. I got into the office. They were in my pocket, and then somewhere in the office they disappeared. But someone gave me a hug, and I think took them off me. But
is it possible you took them?
No, because I brought them for you.
I'm just thinking maybe you took them on your way in. You don't even realize it. So, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be having my lion's mane. Thanks, Billy.
No, we'll find them after lunch break.
Couple things to get into real quick today. We're going to be joined by Chief in a little bit. Talk about some ancient conspiracy theories. Big news came out today. I don't know if you guys saw this on CNN, but...
So let's put news in quotation marks.
Yes, let's put news in quotation marks, Big T. Russia is losing their McDonald's. So does that mean that it's about to be the start of World War III?
That might be facts.
Let's discuss. Because as we know, two countries with McDonald's have never fought a war against each other. Also, Billy reported Vladimir Putin was dead last night.
I had seen...
Big news, big scoop.
I saw some messages. I'm in a couple of very... I don't know. Basically, there's reports that Vladimir Putin might have some serious blood cancers and that he might have gone into surgery over last weekend, and they don't know how he's doing.
Go back real quick. You were saying you were going to talk about your sources of information.
My sources are going to stay sources.
But what were you going to say about them?
They are usually right.
That's not what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Arian's giving you the stink eye right now.
No, there's some different information that I have that I cannot reveal that sort of ascertains that there's a timeline.
Is one of Billy's guys a minister in a Russian cabinet?
No.
Putin's one of Billy's guys.
No. I have some guys who.
How many dictators are on your list, Billy?
I have 0
Hank.
dictators. Yeah, Hank's not on the list. But
corporate Hank.
No, my guys are hooking me up with some good info, some good intel.
Were you a big Kim Jong-un is dead guy too?
No.
Okay.
No. I think he got gastro bypass surgery. But no, the reports is. But by the way, I've been hearing some crazy stuff that there's alternative medicine that Putin's been doing. Turns out he bathes in young reindeer blood and reindeer velvet, like deer antler, to get the IGF-1.
Where are you getting this from? I don't want to deny it. I hope it's true.
Look, reindeer blood.
If you Google reindeer blood and Putin.
Reindeer blood Putin. Vladimir Putin's reported cancer checkups and antler bloodbaths. Report.
Okay, what?
New York Post.
New York Post?
Has had 35 secret meetings with a cancer doctor and been bathing blood of deer antlers, a report said Friday. The investigative report by the Russian outlet The Project tracked medical care that the 69-year-old Putin received since becoming a president of Russia a decade ago. Raises serious... Yeah, and I don't know. It just makes sense why he's acting like he's such an irrational actor.
That he's very sick?
Yeah, like he's dying, so he's going to go out.
That would make sense. The reindeer blood, it's actually kind of comforting to me to know that even maybe the world's richest man, he just falls for junk science traps. I like that. I like the fact that like Putin has everything at his disposal that he wants. He's got command of like a nuclear arsenal. He's got a $200 million house. He's got everything that you need except for McDonald's. But he still is like, oh, what am I going to do for my medical treatment? I know, just slaughter Rudolph, and then I'm going to just slather his blood all over me.
It's bro science, dude. It's not junk science.
It's bro science, yeah. I think you and Putin would sneaky get along, low-key.
Nah.
I think you would, like, guy to guy. I'm not talking about politics. No. I'm not talking about policy. I'm saying if you guys were just hanging out. If Putin was like, Billy...
Dude, he doesn't booze. He's a loser.
If he was like, Billy, come hunting on my giant property... and we're going to take out some Norwegian elk.
Oh, fuck.
And we're going to use these cool dogs that I have to hunt them down. You would be like, yo, like Putin is high-key kind of a good hang.
It would be pretty chill. No.
Yeah, you would love it.
Dude, he's a terrible person. I don't align with him ideologically. I can't be his friend.
Mm-hmm. You don't align at all ideologically. So you don't agree that Nazis are bad.
Oh, fuck. Got me there.
Just trapped you. It's funny watching people do like all these mental gymnastics trying to figure out like whether or not it's problematic to align with Ukraine or not right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, speaking with... I got some very in-depth knowledge of what actual Russians are being told about the war and stuff, and it's totally their state-controlled media and their inability to like look at, like Western media has had a huge impact on their sort of course, their view of the world. Mm-hmm. They literally they were told, there's this idea that basically Ukraine's being ruled by a Nazi occupation and they're there to liberate the people.
Yeah. The burger chain McDonald's will sell its Russia business, saying the humanitarian crisis caused by the war in Ukraine and the precipitating unpredictable operating environment have led McDonald's to conclude that continued ownership of the business in Russia is no longer tenable, nor is it consistent with McDonald's values. Once the sale is finalized, the Russian restaurants will be de-arched. They're getting de-arched, meaning the locations will no longer be allowed to use the McDonald's name, logo, or menu. McDonald's said its employees will still be paid until the transaction closes, that employees have future employment with any potential buyer. So they're de-arching, they're removing the logo, and I don't know, I guess we're going to see some McDowell's. in Russia. You guys remember that?
McDonald's.
McDonald.
No, yeah,
McDonald.
McDonald was the one that was in Iraq.
Yeah.
The fake McDonald's that was in Iraq, McDonald. And then McDowell's was in Trading Place. Or not Trading Place, excuse me, Coming to America. Coming to America.
McDonaldov.
McDonaldov. So this is a big step. It's the end of an era, really.
So McDonald's is putting sanctions on Russia?
Yeah, everyone's sanctioning Russia.
I did just check. So McDonald's said it's inconsistent with their values to continue to operate in Russia, which would seemingly mean that anywhere they do operate is within their values, right? I think that's a fair leap to make. I did check they are operating in China.
Yeah.
So that's a bit problematic for their values.
Saudi Arabia.
We can look into that.
Well, the translation is we've concluded that due to economic sanctions and difficulty in supply chains, it's economically difficult for us to continue to operate McDonald's in Russia.
Oh, so they can't.
And so now they're just saying, like, you know what, because of morals, we're not going to make money in Russia.
It's like they can't get the stuff.
Yeah, probably. That's I would imagine that this isn't just like Big T's right in this circumstance. McDonald's has not demonstrated themselves to be a bastion of ethics and morals throughout the years of its existence. So I'm pretty sure this has a little bit more to do with the money side of things than it does the ethics.
They operate in Singapore. They've got some pretty bad policies, I think.
Aren't you not allowed to wear blue jeans or chew gum in Singapore? Or used to be?
I don't know. I know that Singapore has some pretty harsh drug trafficking laws. I'm pretty sure they'll kill you if you get caught with a certain amount of Indonesia, Philippines.
They made that movie about it, right? It was called like Midnight Express. It's about an Australian who's trying to smuggle drugs to Bali.
Yeah, good rule of thumb is to not smuggle drugs overseas.
Yeah.
Just in general. Coley's disagreeing.
No, I'm saying, don't do that. That never. There are
we got
movies, TV shows specifically about getting locked up abroad. Not a good idea.
Good show, though.
Brittany Griner is still over there.
Are we supposed to be talking about her?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, we are now?
Yeah.
Okay, because for a while they were like, please don't talk about her.
Correct. Yeah.
But now we can.
Why?
Because it could have escalated her situation if Putin could theoretically use her as a pawn, which she still is. If it was made over here to be like, no, we need her. Like if it was loud over here, he'd be like, oh, good. They're really pissed. So it was a strategic play that, I mean, she's been in there since February. Like, I don't know that the play worked.
Dude.
Yeah, they were when it first happened. Her family was like, "Please don't make this a big deal in the media, whatsoever, because then she and her family could be extorted." But I guess now we can talk about we're on Team Free Brittany, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Free Brittany.
What is this like a vape pen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. What happens? Like, what are the laws in Russia against that? How long can she be detained?
I remember seeing something early about it. It was, I mean, for any amount of time, it was preposterous, but it was, we'll look it up.
Yeah, what's the actual Russian law on it?
Do a prisoner exchange, send them Alex Caruso for his marijuana possession charge that he caught?
He did, and it's not funny, great to joke about, but he did kind of put her on the trading block this weekend. He offered Brittany Griner for like one of his guys that we have locked up.
Oh, really?
Straight up. No future pick swaps, nothing.
That's fucked up. What happens if Putin dies, though? Because that's the one thing. Like everyone's like hoping that Putin dies because he's obviously done some bad stuff, some really bad stuff.
There is a succession.
Yeah, but there's a succession plan, and you always have to think. This is one thing that we're not very good at in the United States is thinking like, okay, if this one guy that's a problem, if he can die, then everything is going to be fixed. And we don't really think what's going to happen. Who's the next guy that takes over? Is he going to be worse? Is he going to be better? I don't know.
If you remember the head of intelligence who was like shaking and like
Sergey,
yeah. Like, speak plainly, Sergey.
Yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah, basically from what, and this is just from what I'm reading, from the top down, no one wanted this besides him, and he really pushed this through.
Sergey did.
No, Putin.
Oh, Putin wanted
Sergey
it.
was just like, fuck, I don't want to go and like send our people to invade Ukraine.
Yeah.
And plus, the head of the army, there's a great Twitter thread explaining all of it. And like the head of the army was a yes man. I don't know if I explained this on the show. How the head of the army is a total yes man, and he's just been so successful in Russian politics because he's just given everyone lip service. He's totally, allowed the oligarchs to do whatever they want with the military, like not keep up standards, not, sell them shitty equipment, like so they can make a ton of money, and ousted this old dude who actually like revamped the Russian army post USSR and like held all the arms dealers accountable, like give us good AK-47s, like you're sending us shitty shit, like we're sending it back, give us more. And then this guy's just a really good at keeping everyone happy, and the results have gotten worse.
He's just keeping the money flowing to the important people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the army suffered, and that's why they had such they've had such a difficulty with supply.
Do you guys think that there's a possibility that maybe Putin's been poisoned? Maybe he got into some of his polonium, some of his own stash.
Yeah, I mean, they've been getting tons of oligarchs who've spoken out.
Yeah.
Oh, there was this one story about a Ukrainian millionaire or billionaire who he saw that Russians were in his house through his like Nest cameras, and he saw that the Russian militaries had set up camp in his mansion. So he told the Ukrainian military to bomb his mansion.
Because of Nest?
Yeah. He's like, on his security cameras, like, oh, the Russians are in my mansion. Bomb that shit.
Giving precise locations. They're at the pool right now.
I mean, it would have been a better idea to maybe find out some info of what like they're planning.
Yeah.
If they set up like that's what people forget about like war. Like all these like old mansions and shit were turned into like strategic planning rooms.
Yeah,
the old castles.
In World War II, I think we took a bunch of German like high-ranking military officials hostage, and they were taken prisoner of war, and we had some prisoner of war camps set up, and there were a few of them that we put together that was just meant for people that had like high-value individuals. That we gave them mansions, we gave them palaces to hang out in, and we fed them gourmet food, and we took great care of them and like changed their linens and shit. But we put microphones in the house, and so we just kind of let them hang out. They weren't allowed to leave, but they were like super comfortable to do whatever they wanted in that house. And we got really great intel because they were just comfortable just hanging out.
Getting hammered.
So they would just talk. Yeah, we gave them booze and stuff. They would just talk to each other like normal people. And they didn't know that we were listening, and we got a lot of really good intelligence out of that.
Yeah. Did you guys ever remember the series that would play on History Channel on Sunday mornings, Saturday mornings? There was just a bunch of reruns of Young Indiana Jones.
Yes, I do.
Young Indiana Jones. That was like it was just these, I don't even know where it came from, but it was on the History Channel all the time. And it was about like Indiana Jones's time in World War I when he was serving. And it was like a really good spin-off that I can't believe isn't more popular, but had some great episodes. In one of the episodes, he was a prisoner in one of these castles, and they literally like were testing to see if he was actually American or a German spy. So they're like, who won the World Series in 1911? He was like, Boston Red Sox, and they didn't kill him.
There was also one other thing that we did in World War II that was interesting, which was the prisoner of war camps for the Germans that we had in Alabama. In the United States, there were like massive German POW camps that just existed down there. It's pretty crazy.
Huh.
And then I think that we just like kind of let some of them out after the war was over, and just like, okay, feel free to assimilate into American society now.
Jesus.
And so that tells you a lot about Alabama right there. No offense.
So they have like they brought more like new racists into Alabama.
Yeah, the next generation. Arian, what's up? How's it going?
I'm keeping it a buck, man. I'm struggling, dog. I came in town for my man graduated. He got his master's, and I've drank 4 days in a row, dog.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, today I can't. I don't even want to look at alcohol, man. I'm struggling.
Yeah. I've been there. What town are you in?
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, nice.
Okay. It's probably the altitude that's getting you too.
I mean, I think it's the alcohol.
Yeah.
It was a good time. I've seen people like I grew up. Like I went to elementary school with. Like I've seen people that I haven't seen in 20 years, dog. It was really dope getting up with them.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. Well, yeah, you got this. You got this, man. Just hydrate.
Although I really like, you know how like if you ever have like a long, can you hear it in my voice? I got that like deep, like, you know, Teddy. I got that Teddy voice going on right now. It's really, I got that phone sex voice going on. It's really dope. I wish this was my regular voice, but it's not.
Yeah, it sounds good. But yeah, you're on one right now. Yeah, just you got the headache, or you just feeling all fuzzy?
No. I don't get hangovers. I just feel like I'm tired, bro. Like I just want to go to sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My radio voice, the W3R.
You got the good voice. You got to get it on the podcast.
Like, it's just I'm not as sharp right now. I keep it, but I had a whole bunch of jokes, but there was like 3 sentences too late, and they weren't over well. So I'm just like, I'm listening to y'all like, yeah.
You take notes on the jokes, and then we'll just read them at the end.
Yeah, then say them later.
And then you can put them in your tweet folders.
Yeah.
Maybe they make the list.
Oh, did you hear? I had a fire tweet last night about the Suns. This one hit.
Did you hear the news?
I didn't even watch none of the Game 7s, though. That's how bad it got.
I mean, this one was pretty fire. I think you'll really enjoy this one.
Pop off, though. I mean, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Suns? ? More like moons because they are playing ass out terrible.
That shit might be your worst tweet.
Nah, man.
Billy's very proud of that one.
Yeah, I worked really hard on it.
That was bad.
He actually brought that up on part of my take last night.
No,
so this is the second podcast that Billy has stopped the show to read his tweet.
It got the acclaim. Bubba stopped the show. He thought it was worthy. So
okay, Bubba initiated that one.
Yes.
Okay, my mistake. Yeah, Arian, you missed an all-time Chris Paul performance last night. All time.
I heard about it, man. Because I was at a casino while the Suns game was going on, and actually dope. I ran into my little league football coach, bro. It was crazy. Yeah, so I'm sitting down at my blackjack table, right? And like I don't gamble for any kind of real reason. Like I set a limit, and once I set the limit, I'm out. But I just do it for fun. We hanging out with all the homies, and I'm sitting down, and my little league coach walks up, and he like he just wanted to sit down, but the table was dry and it was out past. I was like, and I grabbed him, was like, yo, and he hasn't seen me for I don't know how long. He was like, it took him, he double take. He sat down and told the old war stories. It was dope. But anyway, in the middle of that, the Sun game's going on, and I look up, and them motherfuckers is down by like 40, bro. 50. I was like, what the fuck is this? It's like a high school championship game, bro. That was weird. I couldn't analyze it, use my pro basketball analytics. But I couldn't believe that shit. That's wild. Game 7, dog. That's wild.
Yeah, Chris Paul had a point at halftime. He had a point. 1 point, which is so much funnier than having 0 points.
What did Book do?
Nothing, because they weren't covering Chris, so they were just doubling Book.
I think he went like 0 for 7 in the first half, too, from the field.
They had, at halftime, their point guard had 1 point, their shooting guard had 2 points, their small forward had 3 points, their power forward had 4 points, and their center had 5 points.
Straight flush.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Damn.
It was incredible. And then Ayton didn't play. I don't think Ayton played the fourth quarter at all. And word on the street is that he just asked to be taken out of the game. And so Monty Williams was like, all right, well, I guess I know where you stand right now. So I think they have to blow up the whole team. Maybe Booker. Maybe keep Booker and JaVale, the core.
Yes.
And then everybody else. And Jay Crowder. I like Jay Crowder. If you want your team to make the playoffs, you sign Jay Crowder. That's how it always works. But yeah, it was an all-time bad performance from the Suns last night. And Arian, I want to talk to you about this. Arian went mega viral last week.
Oh yeah,
mega viral. Just cleaning out your house, and you found all your old jerseys from back in the day, and it was an impressive stash.
Yeah, it was dope. I had him like in this bag, in this big, it's like a big old duffel bag, and like I have this like little secret room in my closet that looks like a closet door, and like if it goes to the back, it's pretty dope. But anyway, yeah. So I'm cleaning out my closet because I'm renovating my home, and so I'm doing. I got nothing. I have no kitchen right now, and I look in there. I was like, oh shit, I forgot about all of this, and so I'm just going through. I was like, this would be a cool little video to make, man. because I don't know if I'm gonna hang. I don't really want to hang them, and so, but I'm just going through. I was like, I got some killers. It was pretty dope, man.
Yeah, the video went very viral. Just it's so cool seeing all those players, and like I think everybody else watched it, and even people that had like no personal relationship with you saw that, and it's like they went back on that journey along with you and just thought about that era of football, and it was awesome to see. And then the funniest part was the NFL tweeted the video out, and they're like, "Look at Arian Foster's collection," and I saw that, and when I first saw it, I actually sent this text to the Part of My Take group chat. I was like, NFL just tweeted Arian Foster's video, but for some reason, they didn't tweet his video. Like, there's that function you can use on Twitter, tweet video, where you can just share that video, and then the original person that uploaded it gets credit for all those views. But for some reason, they didn't do that. And then, Arian, you figured it out.
Well, no, somebody tweeted me. Somebody tweeted out because I was like, that's dope. NFL caught wind of it. But I wasn't going to rewatch it. Some dudes like, yo, NFL tweeted your video, and they left out Ray Rice. And I was like, what? So I went to go look, and sure enough, and I think the worst part of it, that wasn't the worst part. The worst part of it was they took the Kanye song that I used over it. Like, it just gave effect to it. Like, if you listen to it, it gave a little umph to it. But they took the song out, and they took the because it would have looked funny. They would have chopped. They was trying to hide it. I was just so like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Like, what are y'all? It's just so weird as shit to do. It's just weirdo shit. Are you gonna pretend Ray Rice never played football? Like, what are you doing?
They barely punished him in real time, so I don't know why they're acting all high and mighty now.
That's what I'm saying. But okay, and as I'm saying, if you're gonna go down, I'm gonna jump on my Big T bag right now. If you're gonna go down that line, you're gonna have to condemn a lot of motherfuckers in your league, dog.
I was gonna say, it seems like an arbitrary line to draw when Ray Lewis was left in.
Ray Lewis is the homie. He got found not guilty. I wasn't there. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
But like if you take Ray Rice out.
But my biggest thing.
I'm saying leave everybody in.
It's like the statue argument that Big T loves to make.
I've never once talked about any statues ever.
No, it was like my thing is like I was like, dog, like on a little slighter serious note, I was like, man, and I said this on one of the homie shows. He asked me to come on and talk about it. I was like, yo, that man reconciled with his wife, right? They stay together. Like, I'm not finna judge. I don't condone that shit. I grew up in a domestically violent household, so like I have a soft spot in my heart for it. But I also know that people can change, and I also know that it's not an NFL problem, right? I know that the police have high domestic violence accusations, military, like all the people that we revere, we all suffer from it, and it's across the spectrum from any genre. So my thing is like, you had an opportunity to really have a conversation about it, but you try to sweep it under the rug because you want to protect your little shit and pretend like everything's perfect. But why not just be honest about the shit? And like I said, there's mad dudes doing way worse shit or just the same shit that you don't have a problem representing. So it's like, you gotta pick a side, doggy, and that's always been my problem with the NFL. Is like they always reactionary. They're never proactive about anything. And I don't think anything they is genuine. All they care about is money, which that's their prerogative. But like it don't look good to me.
Yeah,
it also brings more attention to Ray Rice being in the video in the first place by cutting it out. Like
nobody would have been like, "Why you got Ray Rice?" Nobody cared.
Would have been 3 people, like max. Like that's it, and they caused more of a shit. The underrated part of that video. How much of your success do you attribute from going from 37 to 23?
Bruh, 37 might be the worst number in sports. It's bad. It's a bad number. I remember when I first got it, I was like, I can't get out because I was undrafted. I was like, yo, they don't got nothing else. They're like, this is what you get. I'm like, bruh. So, but yeah, I was getting a check, so it was what it was. But as soon as I popped off, I switched. The day.
It's Damian Harris's number, and it's his only flaw, really.
There are numbers that are just slow, objectively, right? For running backs. What are the fast numbers for running backs?
Any 20 number, but I think the earlier the 20s, the faster you look. Right?
I don't think
20 looks like 21.
28's too like the fastest.
29 I don't like.
Nah.
Oh, Chris Johnson was 29.
No. Chris Johnson was 28.
Oh yeah, okay.
28 might be the exception to that rule.
I don't like
when you get in the 30s, that's when you become a bruiser. You know what I mean?
32.
Yeah, you're a bruiser.
I don't like 20 on a running back. I like 21, 22, 23,
Your argument holds zero ground.
25. I don't like 26.
Maybe the best running back of all time wore 20. Like maybe. Like
I still don't like it.
Oh,
True.
I still don't like it. I don't like 26.
I don't even like 10 on a quarterback.
No, I just
10's not bad.
I like 80 on a wide receiver, but I don't even like 10 on a quarterback.
I hate 80 on a wide receiver.
Oh, you do?
9
I hate
on a quarterback
80s.
is good.
I hate 80s in general and wide receivers. It does
The
not
reason
look
they all
good.
went to the teens.
Yes, bro. Like all receivers should never wear that, dog. Never ever wear it.
What do you
It's just
think?
horrible.
What's
Except for Randy Moss. Randy Moss he'll make anything look fire, but Randy Moss made 84 look fire.
81
88
was sleek.
88 works.
88's
does
kind of
work.
it's kind of boxy though.
I like 88 on a tight end.
Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
Michael Irvin.
11 is clean
yeah,
on a
11's nice.
receiver.
Yeah.
I think 36,
18.
35 is probably the worst number for a running back, right?
I think 37.
39's way worse if we're just sticking in the 30s.
Danny Woodhead.
39 is-
Danny
I like-
Woodhead.
I like-
Danny Woodhead. You're wrong.
I like
wrong.
30, I like 39 over 35.
Yep.
35 is a little.
39.
35 is a little.
Oh, Steven Jackson, right?
Yeah, I think
yeah.
he was 30s for sure. I think he was 39.
He was 39. He was 39.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think you can name a single good running back that's worn 35.
We're not going to slander Patrick Pass on this program, friend.
I don't know. I know Aeneas Williams wore 35. He was DB and he was cold. But even then, he never looked sweet because it was that ugly ass number.
And
Boston Scott.
Then you have Alvin Kamara, who has flipped this entire thing upside down, wearing 41.
Nah, that's not. 41 was popping before Alvin, but yes, 41. 41 has been a good running back number. 41 and 44 too.
Who else?
44.
Who else has worn
Get away with
41?
I know a couple homies, but probably not anybody famous. But 41's been. It's kind of been known for. Oh no, Ernest Byer wore 41.
If your initials are AK and you're gonna wear a number in the 40s, you just have to be 47.
Yeah, Kirilenko.
That'd have been fire.
Okay, I fucked up. My bad. Christian Okoye wore number 35 for the Chiefs. And he was a beast. He was an all-time great
remember.
fullback. The Nigerian Nightmare.
I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah, but besides him, the number belongs to him and nobody else.
Yeah, you might be right.
What?
34 always been really dope.
Yeah, 34 is okay, but I agree. 30 is just in general. You got to be a big dude to pull that off.
Yeah.
I like 33.
No, you just like Larry Bird.
No, I like Kevin Falk.
Kevin Falk, Roger Craig. Who's the cat that played for the Cowboys?
Moose
Dorsett.
Johnson.
Tony Dorsett.
If you were a quarterback, what number would you pick? I think I agree with Avery that 9 is a
Nine's the
solid
best.
number.
I would be 2 or 9. I'd be 2 or 9.
7's good too.
Yeah, like 7.
You gotta be able to run.
What are you
Yep.
trying to say?
Yeah.
Vic changed that. Vic changed everything.
What are you trying to say? I couldn't pull it off. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, you could not.
I'm boogieing down the field.
Nah, you're a 19 or something like that.
No, dude.
Yeah, you got high intelligence and a good motor. That's what
I feel like I'm 15 Ryan Mallett, like just
No, 15. The thing about 15 is my brain's been polluted by Mallett and Tebow that you're a bad quarterback with some sort of not freak athleticism, but like you're
Sounds like
super
me.
strong or super tall.
which one of those had a freak athlete?
I didn't freak I meant you're freaky in some way, like freaky. I used freak in a different
Tim
way.
Tebow's a great athlete.
Like
Is he?
freaky.
He's not an NFL quarterback, but he was a great
He's
athlete.
a brick house.
Is he?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that Tebow is a freak athlete. I mean,
Just because he's built, but I say freak athlete.
We forget because his NFL career was so bad. He was unstoppable.
he was more of an athlete than he was a
He's
quarterback.
probably the greatest college football player ever.
for a quarterback. I mean,
Disagree.
Why?
Because
he
there's a
wasn't the
guy.
best quarterback. He wasn't the best.
He wasn't the
college
best.
football
He was
player in that quarterback room.
He wasn't the best player on his team. What are you smoking?
Oh, stop.
I'd say
Dude.
he was probably the
Bro,
third
what?
best athlete
dude, this
on
is
that
the
Florida
best
team.
This is the
Wasn't
best
the best quarterback
song.
athlete on that floor.
Percy
Yes, he
Harvin.
was.
Percy Harvin.
Cam's a way better athlete.
You're telling me
I'm
Tim
talking
Tebow
about
was a
player,
better
not
athlete than-
athlete.
You're telling me Tim Tebow's a better player than Percy Harvin?
In college, yes.
Percy
No,
Harvin was a fucking
he had,
freak.
He had crazy weapons. He had Percy Harvin, the murderer, like he had mad,
the racist,
he had mad weapons, great offensive linemen, 2 All-Pro linemen. Like it's just like
I'm not saying Florida did not have great players under Urban Meyer.
Tim Tebow was average.
He had Ryan Lochte swimming.
Okay.
A murderer, a racist, and a virgin walk onto a football team.
Win a championship.
Urban was the coach. By the way, this is the greatest thing from the Tim Tebow era. I just need to play this song for us because we used to
Are you in sales and marketing? Let me show you the easiest way to find a prospect's contact.
No, I don't do Billy.
No,
Cam Newton had a better college career.
Cam Newton.
He did not.
Vince Young. Bro, Vince Young. Come on.
Listen,
man.
these are all top
Michael
like
Vick.
15 players. Michael Vick in
But turn that
college?
shit off. Nobody wanna hear that
College was a
bullshit.
monster.
No,
What are
he
you
was
talking
great.
about?
He was great. He's not Tim Tebow.
I think they.
Talking about.
No, y'all are
there's-
crazy.
Big T's on to something a little bit. I think that he's wrong. I think Cam Newton is the greatest college football player that's ever existed.
Are we being serious? He played for a year.
And it was the best season of college football.
Yeah, he dragged the team that had one other player who got drafted to an undefeated national
Now,
title.
if you like his total career, Tim Tebow is definitely up there.
Joe Burrow had a better season than Cam Newton did.
That's not true.
I don't
Like,
think so.
If we're talking about the weapons he played with, and he played with multiple first-round picks.
That's
Cam
fair.
Newton played
No,
with,
like, if you
again,
put-
one guy who got drafted and he played defense.
If you
it was
put-
bad.
If you put Cam Newton on that Florida team instead of Tebow, like that,
He was on that Florida team.
right. But in the starting
If he
role,
started him.
yeah, if he started, he would have done so much more than Tebow did.
I also think that
More than like gone undefeated and won a national title.
Yeah, he would have done that multiple
Just
times.
individually, he would have done more. Like they would have done
Yeah.
the same.
He was awesome. He was incredible. He's one of the 10 best quarterbacks in college football history.
I think
maybe
that-
5.
I think that if we put Joe Burrow on that Auburn team, I don't think they win the national championship. If we put Cam Newton on that LSU team, I think they dominate.
That's fair.
Yeah. And
I'm
that's
not arguing that Cam Newton isn't good.
I'm not trying to slander Joe Burrow. I love Joe Burrow, but the fact is, like, Cam Newton was he was a different person. He was like a defensive end that was playing quarterback and still had a rocket arm. Like it was insane
awesome.
what he was able to do on his own.
If you put Joe Burrow on Tebow's Florida team, they also win the national championship.
Probably, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, for
Maybe.
sure. I mean, people forget about how great Percy Harvin was in college. Percy Harvin was so good when he was at Florida that he was beating up his coaches, and they still started him. And they were like,
I agree, but like those coaches clearly had no control over what anyone was doing on that team.
yeah. I wanted to make a musical, to write a musical about the 2000. What year was that? 2009,
Yeah, dude,
2008 Florida Gators.
And then like the side characters of freaking Dan Bilzerian, Ryan Lochte, and like
Urban, obviously.
Urban.
We don't talk enough about how Florida was running college basketball and football simultaneously and hasn't done shit since. Like Miami gets a lot of heat for falling off since the early 2000s. That wasn't their fault. That was sanctions' fault for now what is just called college football. They had their hands tied and have still been okay in basketball and football. Not their dominant selves, but okay.
I mean, Florida's still been good.
Florida, yeah, they've been good, but they literally ran both sports, and they really haven't done shit in either since.
Well, the basketball teams were an anomaly. Like, they'll never get that much talent again.
Why?
I mean, I think every team has, like, Power 5 teams have teams bubble up like that every once in a while.
But there was no reason for them at that moment. Like, they have everything you need, really, to be a dominant college. They're in the
Well, they
SEC.
also had they had the best coach maybe in college basketball at the time and one of the best coaches in college football.
Definitely helps, but like they have like the money to keep trying to replicate that. Like other schools haven't fallen. LSU hasn't. Like they've had different coaches come in and out and win and be successful. Like I feel like we give Florida more of a pass than they deserve for not really doing anything since they won 4 national championships over 2 sports in a 3-year window. That's insane.
Yeah. But again, they had a generational talent at quarterback, the second best coach in college football.
Yep. And
Al Horford and Corey Brewer.
I don't know. I've never understood the Tebow hype. I just don't get it, dog. I was on the other side of the field watching him. Like, yo, he has fucking killers on his, like literally, but killers on his team, dog. Like it was just wild. Like that Wildcat shit. like when I hear people talk about him, I'm like, yo, what are we watching? I was watching totally different things. Like they'll be like, he's one of the greatest athletes of all time. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But I mean, every guy we're talking about had awesome players that they played with.
It doesn't matter. If somebody looks at me and tells me that Tim Tebow was a better quarterback than Vince Young, we have nothing in common, and that's okay. That's okay.
I'm looking at his combine stats right now for Tebow. So he ran the 40 in 4.7. Not that fast, but he was 235 pounds. His Wonderlic was a 20. I'm dinging him on that.
100 pound less than Jordan Davis.
You know what you
He had a good vertical, 38.5 inches. That's basically what I do.
You know what you can't measure though?
Shut up.
You know what you can't measure though?
How much fucking drugs you taking?
The power of Christ.
That's true. That's true. He had the ultimate 12th man on the field with him.
Also, Michael Dyer was a very good college running back that played with Cam Newton.
Okay, again, we're talking about all pros in the NFL that Tim Tebow was playing with.
He was pretty agile.
That all had pretty good NFL.
But Brandon Spike's on that team too.
Aside from Brandon Spike's on that
Jesus
team.
Christ.
Joe Hayden.
Yep.
They had a fucking squad. We played them. I used to be like, yo, come on, fam.
The thing about Tebow is that literally he was so built, his range of motion didn't allow him to throw.
He became muscle bound. Now,
he was like. Have you ever seen really jacked guys try to
They just make up any excuse. Like he just wasn't a good quarterback.
I know. Well,
I'm
agreeing with you.
It's because he was so strong.
But that
is a hell of a spin zone.
No. This is my take.
Bro used to throw ducks, dog. Ducks. I don't want to make it sound like, well, you hating on him. I'm not hating on him, bro. I'm just saying, like, I just don't I don't understand the hype. Because like when I hear people talk about like Michael Vick or like, you know what I'm saying, like cats who were like special. Like when I watched the two in juxtaposition, I don't see it, dog. I do not see it. He's just big as fuck.
Well, it was
like you or your highlight tape when you just start bowling over cats. Like, were you special or were you just big as fuck? Big as fuck. But when you get around cats that's just as big and faster and stronger,
yes, that
playing field change.
It does.
What if I told you that Michael Vick's best season in college was 2,000 passing yards, 13 touchdowns, 5 picks, and 682 rushing yards?
And the national championship appearance, right?
Yeah. But what does that have to do with it? I don't know what's the question.
Well, I'm just saying, like, Tim Tebow blew that out of the water.
Well, you're talking about stats. That's what I'm saying. Like stats are impressive only so far. I don't know unless you. I don't want to put it like that, but like stats can be misleading, very misleading, because if I'm throwing screen passes and they go 70, I get 70 yards. You know what I'm saying? Like Tebow was not throwing dimes. He didn't have an arm like that, right? Which was very obvious. So like they exploited his strengths, right? And they hit it within the talent of his offense, and he got all the credit for it. Well, I'm not saying he wasn't serviceable. Like I wasn't saying he was a bad quarterback. He just wasn't a good one. Like he was. Yeah. I think he was an average quarterback that had like a lot of running. He was like what's Buddy from the Saints?
Oh, Taysom Hill.
It's like him. In college. Like imagine him in college, but like bigger, and you could do more things with him. Like, but to say that Mike Vick didn't have the stats Tebow had, right? Is to imply in any way that Tebow was a better passer is just weird.
All right, but how about this one? What about the intangibles, Arian? What about the hard work and the leadership? Because, I mean, think about it. Everything that we know now about all the weird shit that was going on with that team and all those characters, it probably took somebody like Tebow to be able to like get them to all pull in the same direction. And by and large, if you ask anybody that played with him, they all like the guy. They all think he's a really nice guy. And anyone that's ever been around him is like, yeah, he's the real deal. He's kind of a weirdo, but it's hard not to like a guy like that. I do think that his leadership actually, that it rose him above what his like physical talents were, because I do think that Taysom Hill is a better athlete than Tebow. I think he's better at everything that Tebow does. than Tebow, except potentially the leadership aspect, which, that didn't really carry over to the NFL for Tebow. But I think there was something to that in his college career.
That Broncos team was weird. Like, I don't want to say special because they got their doors blown off in the playoffs, but that pass to Demaryius, rest in peace, but that pass to Demaryius against the Steelers was like an all-time sports moment.
Yeah.
It was absurd.
Yeah. But again, like, he was like starting, and they won. I think they won a game against the Chiefs maybe, and they had like 80 yards passing or some shit.
Oh yeah,
But that's my point. But to what PFT was talking about, like I've been known to say this before. I am unconvinced that like leadership is like a big thing. Like, and maybe it's because I never won a championship, right? But like I've never been like inspired by another nigga like that. Like, I've just never seen a man look at me and be like, guys, we got to get it together. And that was the thing that did it for me to motivate me to play better. That has never, I don't understand it. Maybe that's a thing for other people, but I've always played the best I could. And I didn't take anybody to tell me that. And maybe guys need that. And maybe I just don't understand that aspect of it. But I don't know if I don't know. Like, cause I've just been in NFL locker rooms. I've seen these cats, and it's just like, I don't know nobody that's like, bro, there's no way I make that play without that dude. I just don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Quick question: do you think you ever inspired others to play better?
I don't know. Maybe by my play. Like, I wasn't a rah dude like that. You know what I mean? Like we would all like banter and get hype with each other, but I was never like, we got to get it. I was not that cat. Like, I think being around somebody that works their ass off, like that'll inspire you to be like, okay, I see how he practices and he's a baller, right? So if I can take my game to the next level, that makes sense, right? But that's everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're hard pressed to find anybody on an NFL team that isn't a baller. I think you guys one or two, right? And those mannerisms can infect a team.
I think you as like the de facto leader of the team, being the biggest star on the Houston Texans, if people saw how you went about your day and the effort that you put into training and all that stuff, then yeah, that probably it makes them, you're like setting the standard for them as to like what's expected if you want to be great. And I think like actions can speak louder than words sometimes, so you don't necessarily have to be a rah-rah guy. Tebow probably, he definitely was a rah-rah guy. That's kind of his whole thing, is being the ultimate rah-rah guy. But I think he also worked really hard too. I mean, there was a lot of it was like kind of TJ Watt-ish when he would just like, after practice run every single step in the stadium, and it just so happened that cameras would be catching him doing that. But he would do stuff like that. Like, the guy just never stopped working on staying in shape and getting strong. I think that probably, like, it does set a standard for people to be like, okay, if he's going to be doing it, then I will too.
But that's my point though, right? It's like, he was doing that shit in the league, right? And they got him up out of there because that shit only works if you balling. Yeah. Like, so it's like you like I don't know. And that's why I don't buy the whole, like, I was talking about Tom Brady the same way, right? Like, cats will be like, yo, Tom Brady's just like, he makes you better. I'm like, no, he doesn't. Like, you decide that shit. You make up your mind that you gonna work out because you see the dude that's balling. You like, I want to ball. Like, he's not making you making you better. Like, I don't know. I just never been a fan of that shit because I come from a different like place, right? And this probably is the crux of it that I'm thinking about it. I come from a place of like, I never looked at football or sports in general as like this overarching, like, got to win one for the Gipper type shit. I was always like, I got to get a scholarship to get out of my neighborhood, right? That was my goal, and I did that shit. Then I got to get to the league to make sure I take care of my family. So like, yeah, I enjoyed winning. It was fun and the camaraderie. I'm a competitor, but at the end of the day, I'm not making no promise that we're gonna win for the rest. I don't give a fuck like that because like, nigga, this is how I'm feeding my family. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do my best that I can, but like at the end of the day, the trophy that we take on is gonna sit in Bob McNair office. You know what I'm saying? The trophy that we take, you know what I'm saying, I'll get a ring for, but like, it's not my, you know what I'm saying? I just never felt like that. Like, and maybe that's the difference.
Yeah, people that when they get with Tom Brady, they're like, he makes you better. He makes you better because he's really fucking good. And if you're like a wide receiver, he's gonna put the ball in your hands in open space, and you're gonna get more stats. You're gonna get more touchdowns. You're gonna have more fun. It's like a quarterback like that in the offseason. If he calls you and he's like, hey, we're going to go up to the local high school here at 7:30 in the morning, and we're going to throw for an hour and a half, you'll be like, hell yeah, I'll do that because one, it's you're gonna get better stats, and two, it's probably more fun. Like imagine if Brock Osweiler called you and was like, hey, we're gonna work on our route tree for 3 hours at 6 a.m. and he's gonna like skip most of the balls. Like that's not fun to do. Why would you ever go to a practice like that? But if it's Tom Brady, then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be catching everything. It's gonna be wonderful. No even disrespect to Brock Osweiler.
Yeah, none. But like that was also like the aspect of it that I used to loathe was like, it's why I envy basketball players, right? And I was always confused by them because you can play basketball all fucking day without really harming your body, right? Like you can sit there and shoot 5,000 free throws if you want to, right? Quarterbacks can throw all the time without really doing a lot of damage to their body. But a receiver running routes, like there's a limit to the physical exertion that you can have. So it's like, so I was an argument, like we're playing different sports, you know what I mean? Like we're doing different things. Like I said, we're not measured by the same metric. Like we can't be. And so like, I was always just like upset at that because like the quarterback works so hard. I'm like, it's easier to work hard as a quarterback. It's way easier. You sitting down watching film is your hard work. Like me getting hit is my hard work. Me running hills is my hard work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where I actually have to like sleep. Like I have to sleep, I have to recover. Like, and so we're just playing different sports. And so it's like, it's not the same. It's not the same. And I don't think people understand that.
I'm surprised that you think that basketball is less intensive than running routes without, are you saying one-on-ones?
No, he's talking about shooting and like
fouls
practice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, not a game. So what I'm saying is like you as a basketball player, you can work on different aspects of your game with a longer duration than I can as a running back than a wide receiver can. A wide receiver can run. Let's say you want to run a post route, right? 42 on the hash. You run a post route. You got about 10 or 15 of those in you at full speed before your body says we need to sit down. That's just how physics work. But as a basketball player, you can shoot thousands of shots. You can put up 1,000 shots a day and you'll be straight and you'll be all right. You may be sore, but you'll be all right. You know what I mean? There's a difference.
So, our official ranking, best college football players of all time.
Reggie Bush, fam.
Yeah, Reggie was pretty good.
Bro, like
I was gonna say,
if we're using the arguments against Tebow as supporting cast, like I feel like we could do that with Reggie too.
No,
definitely.
But I feel like Reggie was,
and he was playing
cast.
the pack, which is not the same as the SEC.
Sure, right? I mean, I came from that, sure, but Reggie Bush in college,
he was a beast,
a fucking special guy, dog. It was, but to your point, he did have a great supporting cast, though. He had a really solid college quarterback, good receivers, Lendell White as a little complimentary, and he was a monster too. So yeah, he 3 first-round linebackers. You know what I mean? Like they had a great supporting, cast. But that boy was special.
He was, but that's like when we're talking about these guys, this is where I give Vince Young the edge. This is where I give Cam the edge. Like they did it with less, and Texas obviously had more than fucking Auburn did. So at the end of the day, I always go back to Cam.
What about Ricky Williams?
I don't remember the rest of that Texas team as well. He was a monster.
Ricky's got to be up there. Earl Campbell, too. 2 Texas running backs.
Love Earl Campbell. Eric Dickerson.
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson. Probably the best athlete ever.
Not like Tebow.
Who's a better athlete, do you think, Bo Jackson or Dion?
Oh, okay.
I say Bo.
Yeah.
But it's like a 1A, 1B thing with me. Like, because Dion was special, dog. But like I think Bo was more dominant in baseball for sure.
Yeah.
He had a short run in the NFL, but like again, he played a different position. Like Dion was on an island, but he was special. But I would go Bo.
We got to get you on Dion's podcast, Arian.
He was on mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'll hop on. That's the homie.
Yeah, do a home and home with him. Dion he's an interesting dude.
Love him.
He's doing big things at Jackson State too.
That's what I love more than anything, man. I hope he stays there, like honestly, because he's changing the game. But you'll never know.
I think so. Like the players that are going to school at Jackson State that he's recruiting, they deserve a shitload of credit for kind of putting their necks out there because they're foregoing the opportunity to play at traditional power schools that they know are going to be on TV like all the time, that have more media surrounding them usually, but they're putting their necks out there to be like, I want to try to do it this way because I think it would be powerful if I went to Jackson State and drew, and I can bring the audience to the HBCUs. And also I think, like, especially if you're a cornerback, why would you not want to go be coached by Deion Sanders? That's like the biggest thing ever. It's like the greatest to ever do it. If the entire goal here is to prepare myself to make a lot of money on Sundays, then that's the guy that's going to be able to teach me how to do it.
Well, also, like, they're getting on TV and stuff. Their spring game was on national TV.
Yep.
How many schools have that? 20?
Yeah.
Yep. And so, I mean, I said this when I was on Rogan, like was it 2016 or something like that? I hate the NCAA, and the only reason why they have the leverage is because we keep going to their schools. We keep funding them, and we're giving them the best assets in sports, really. And you take away that leverage, then they're going to have to come see you. You're going to change, and that's what Deion's doing. That's why I love what he's doing, and I hope he continues to do it. The only reason why these power schools are power schools is because they're getting fed all these athletes from our neighborhoods. That's the only reason. Like, if you stop going to these schools, they stop that leverage, and then TV contracts going to still show because people still want to watch good football at that level. So they'll change. The TV network's going to say, "Where's the talent at?" They're going to say, "I love Tennessee," or "I love Alabama." Or they're going to say, "Where the talent at?" We're going to give the TV contracts to them, and then you have a little pro sports. That's what it's going to come down to sooner or later.
Yep.
What happens if the boosters just keep paying recruits though, at those big schools?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it'll take a big shift socially to understand that, because those boosters, you can get that money through allocation through the TV deals that you get. Say Grambling says, okay, we got this $200 million TV contract, and we're going to start paying these athletes contracts. Then the money the boosters paying is null and void. Now let's go build something else rather than being under the umbrella of the NCAA and continue to be exploited.
It's so funny to see what Miami's up to now. Miami's just basically you know what? We're going to pay kids to go to college here. They're being very, very open about what their goals are.
Well,
Tennessee too,
yeah.
Well, Florida State fans thought that Barstool was the one who was helping Deion land athletes by literally putting him on the payroll.
Honestly, that was extremely disrespectful to Deion to think that Deion's only able to get these athletes because Barstool is giving him money for it.
Also,
but then we just leaned into it and we're like, yeah, we dropped off a laundry bag with $1 million in it at Deion's doorstep.
I mean, one of the all-time twists would be us heavily swaying the power of college football to an HBCU. All time.
Yeah.
People want to know how to feel.
The story of historically black colleges and universities cannot be told without Barstool Sports. I mean, we are trying to do our best to highlight what he's doing there because we think that it's awesome. And Deion is a hilarious guy that's got just an electric personality. That the dude he's a content machine. We love him, but he's doing obviously all the work down there. I don't know how much credit you'll have to give Dave Portnoy for the emergence of that. But I mean, it's funny when people are saying that we're ruining college football. That was an actual discussion that was taking place mostly on the Florida State message boards, but they were saying Barstool Sports is ruining college football by taking our prized recruits away from us.
There are few days I have had as much fun on the internet as the National Signing Day when Travis Hunter went there, and the Florida State fans. Some of the shit they came up with was unreal. It was hysterical.
Yeah, the ultimate gumshoes, big-time internet sleuths exist on college football message boards. Those guys, one person says something, a guy that has the third biggest tailgate at Florida State just makes something up, and they're like, "Yeah, I heard they gave him a Mitsubishi Galant with all the bells and whistles." And next thing you know, there's 9 people that parrot that, and then there are TV stations that are repeating it as fact, all because Big Daddy Noel posted that onto Knowles.com or whatever the fuck their message board is, and they just run with it. It's very fun. I appreciate that, as I consider myself to be an anthropologist of internet message boards, and much like Billy is.
My shtick.
No, you're an internet anthropologist of social media. I predate you, Billy.
Well, true.
I'm about the comment section and the message boards. That's where the real shit is. The stuff that you see on Twitter, that has to get filtered downstream from the message boards. That's where the original product comes from.
Did you see the softest thing in internet history last night, PFT? Since we're talking about message boards.
Billy's dick.
What?
No, what are you talking about?
For a second, I was like, did I tweet my... No.
Sun's Reddit locked itself from the outside world.
Oh, no.
Private channel.
Oh, no.
How bad a beating they got. Sun's Reddit was like, this needs to stay. They had a players-only meeting on Reddit.
Oh, no. So there were no, like, hey, Clippers fan coming in peace here. Just wanted to say, like, I've been there.
No, if you weren't part of Sun's Reddit before last night, you weren't getting in. I don't know if it's still locked, but they locked that shit.
That is so soft.
It's tough.
You can't do that. You can't do that. I'm sorry. Like at this point I have to turn my back on the Suns Reddit. You know I've been a big time supporter of yours in the past, but this is a bridge too far. There was another soft thing actually. We'll get into the rest of the show real quick, but I was down in DC over the weekend. I went down there for the Capitals game. And unfortunately, the Panthers beat them. In the third period, they started, I think we were down. No, it was a tie game. I think it was 2-2 in the third period. And Capitals fans started doing the wave of an elimination game in the playoffs with like 10 minutes left in the game. I'm not a wave shamer. We had fun doing the wave at the Mets game. Now, obviously, we're not Mets fans, but I usually am supportive of the wave. It sounds like, it's a fun thing to do when you go out to the ballpark with your friends and family, whatever. Big team might feel differently than I do about the wave. But when it comes to like a very serious situation like that, like a elimination game, crunch time, there's time and a place for that. And at that point, I knew that we were going to lose the game. What do you guys feel about the wave?
I'm a fan. Remember I was making y'all do it at the baseball game. You was too cool.
I did the wave.
You stood around. I mean, you stuck around for like maybe 2 or 3 rotations, and then you was kind of off it. You know what I mean? But I was in it. I was in it for the long haul. I love the wave. It's fun.
The wave's kind of fire.
The wave is fun, but I
hate when the wave dies.
Not in like a playoff win or go home situation.
Was it during the match?
Yeah, it was during the hockey game. There was like 10 minutes left. It was a tie game. If we lose that game, our season's over.
10 minutes is not crunch time, though. That's way
in a playoff hockey game?
In hockey.
10, well, see, I don't know hockey, so
yeah.
I may be wrong. But it seems like 10 minutes is like a long time in a game.
It goes faster in hockey than it does in basketball and football.
It's running.
It was under.
There's no time stoppages?
Unless someone bleeds.
Oh, well, I don't know enough about hockey, but I probably would have partook because I'd have been drunk and not knowing what the fuck going on. So.
It just sounds like there wasn't, not everyone was on the same page energy-wise in that building, PFT, and that's a recipe for disaster. So everyone needs to be on the same page.
Are you saying like they was fucking up your experience because you was intently watching? It was like, would y'all sit the fuck down?
Yeah, a little bit. Like at that point, we all need to be locked in. We need to be yelling at the right time. We got to be doing the "Let's Go Caps" chant together.
You had a lot of composure. I love Jake. I think he's a great person. I would have fought Jake if he did what he did to me.
I mean, you can't fight Jake though. That's
in an elimination game. No, I would have fought Jake. No, I would have started throwing hands.
Avery, it's like Jake is like a really sweet golden retriever. And this is him like peeing in the house. I'm not going to like hit him for it. I'm not going to beat him.
The fact that he gave you a game puck, I would smash his face in for that.
If he's the golden retriever, I'm going to be like, oh, come on. You know you got to do that outside. And I like walk him out there and be like, he probably won't do that again.
You almost did though when he went to hug you.
Yeah, he gave me a handshake and a hug after the game.
I don't think Jake has ever been hit in the face ever.
Well, it's different, right? All right, so if Jake was like a diehard Panthers fan, sure. You go to an elimination game with someone who just bought a shirt for the team like an hour before, and they're pulling that. I'm going to jail.
Just some people.
I'll be in prison.
Some people don't operate under the assumption that they can get punched in the face.
Yeah, I think.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's twice. What's up with you and Jake, dog?
No. This is with a lot of people.
No, but you're talking about Jake.
I feel like there's something there.
No. I sit next to Jake every podcast.
Something going on there?
No, nothing's going on there. I'm just saying. I It's like,
but it was like it was the way you said it was like, I don't think he's ever been punched in the face before. Like
I'm just thinking
like
about it.
Something's mulling around in that little tin can over there.
Yeah, like the people I say that about are usually like they try and talk spicy like online, not like
no. I'm like saying it like I don't think.
Well, the thing is about Jake,
because I was running through what would happen if you punched Jake in the face.
He probably hasn't been punched in the face because he's never done anything to deserve being punched in the face because he's a genuinely good person. So it's not like he needs to be punched in the face.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Teach him a lesson, Bill.
That's what it felt like. He was like, "Wow."
I think
somebody.
I was like, "What? Has there ever?" Been
I think a little bit. Billy does think that he needs to get punched in the face. I think Billy does believe that time, like in some small part of it.
Look, I mean, I think there's life experiences everyone should go through,
like getting hit in the face. No, but
I don't totally disagree with that.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
if people were more aware that you can get socked up, they'd be less inclined to just be so aggressive.
I'm so with that.
Bring back duels
early in life, though. I think if it doesn't happen early, like later in life, they're just going to sue.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's like it's a great point, but that's what it says. Like if you're aware that that's a possibility, like
right, I get
pop off,
1,000%. But I do think it needs to be during those development.
I might pay another kid to go hit my kid in the face just so he gets that experience.
That's child abuse.
Yeah, I'm Billy. What?
I mean, think like.
Hard times make for hard people.
I'll give you candy if you go fuck my kid up.
You won't get.
Don't tell him it was me, or I'm gonna fuck you up.
I mean, your kid is going to have the largest therapy bills in the history of the modern world once it gets older. If it finds out that.
No, I'm kidding.
It's like
he gonna have like a pill box at his lunch box. He's gonna have all kinds of different supplements.
My dad started his own business, which was just paying my friends to punch me. Now I think I've got issues. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, no, Jake doesn't need to be punched in the face. He probably hasn't ever been punched in the face, but there's a reason for that. He was just the hard part about it was he was acknowledging all these things. He was like, listen, I'm not even that big of a Panthers fan. I'm just happy that my team won. I'm sorry to see that you lost. He was just being so polite about it that it made me mad. I wanted him to be a jerk to me.
But that's so much worse.
Oh, that would,
like if you're like, oh yeah, like I don't really care about the Panthers, but like I'm glad that like I would rather you be a rabid Panthers fan and like being an asshole.
Yeah.
You were at the game. Oh my God.
I was yelling at their coach. I was distracting. I was doing a great job on the bench. Fuck Lomberg, by the way. Lomberg was sending me death stares. He was like winking at me and shit after he scored.
There was like a trainer that banged on the glass like at you guys after the game. Were you really talking that much shit? You must have pissed somebody off. I swear, if you watch like the Panthers when they scored, there's like when they scored, the trainer like turns towards the glass and like slaps it really hard, like right at them.
Right in my face. Yeah, he was upset with me. I was talking some shit, but I wasn't saying anything really that bad. I was making fun of their suits, making fun of their hair gel. One of the guys had one of the like 8-for-1 deals from Jose Bank that he was wearing on the bench. I was making fun of him a lot, and I wouldn't have said anything bad to the trainer at all. But at the start of the game, he was passing out the smelling salts, and I was like, "Let me get some salts," and he wouldn't give me any smelling salts. Gotcha. And so then I locked in on him and decided to go after him. I also put out a couple mean tweets, like making fun of their coaching staff.
The best was when you took a picture of like their lineup card as if it was something, and you're just like, at Capitals, if you need this, I have it.
Yeah, I've got some proprietary information.
I have a question I've always wondered. Did you like sitting behind the bench? Because at a hockey game, I feel like that's not. I've sat on the glass before, like down further, like at the goal line. But like I've never sat right behind the bench. I feel those guys standing right in front of you.
It was a cool experience. And it wasn't the guys that were standing right in front of me that were the biggest problem. It's like where I was on the ice, there's boxes, there's angles in the glass there. So it's not just the straight pane of glass. You've got the boxes that go around the teams, then you've got some other things set up. So it's tough to see the whole ice from where you're at. You have to like stand up. You have to spend a lot of time looking at the scoreboard. I'm not going to complain about the front row seats because like it was obviously like an incredible place to be, just for the experience. But if I had to pick a spot to watch just for the game itself, I would probably be up like 15, 20 rows, something like that. Get a better view of everything that's going on. But then, yeah, Jake he ate my heart, and then I just got obliterated drunk later on that night. Went to a bar, had the biggest Moscow Mule of all time.
I heard you lost your Jinkos to the streets.
I lost my Jinkos to the streets. They belong to DC. Actually, breaking news on that, the Jinkos have been found. Yeah, my friend reached out to me. They're at the bar still. So they're in the back room at the bar.
Did you have pants?
That's a wild night,
did
dog.
you go home like in your boxers?
No, I had shorts on.
You had shorts on underneath the
Jinkos, yeah.
Can I ask why you double panted in May?
That's real 90s. That's real 90s right there.
Was that something you do with Jinkos?
Shorts under pants was hella 90s, bro.
Well, I knew that there was a possibility. Like, I wasn't going to be wearing the Jinkos
the whole night.
Probably the whole night. So I was prepared for that. So I had the shorts with me.
I saw your tweet and I was like, did PFT like get like a public indecency charge?
No. I didn't do anything like that. Although it was one of those things where I went to the bar afterwards and had a great time. I went to my friend Frankie's bar and we were hanging out, and I ordered the giant mule for everybody that I was with, and then I just drank the entire mule by myself. And then next thing you know, it was like light switch out, which I haven't done in a long time. Like I usually don't drink to the point where I'm completely blacked out. That happened on Saturday for sure. Woke up in my friend Frankie's apartment and had that like split second of panic where it's like, where am I right now? I think I actually woke up and I was like, oh shit, where am I? So I usually don't do that. Probably won't be doing that again anytime soon because you get like the scaries immediately. Like, oh no, what happened last night?
It's all Jake's fault.
It's all Jake's fault. I blame Jake.
I'll exact revenge for you.
Thank you, Coley. So you're taping the dozen today, right?
Already did, friend.
Oh, you did? Okay, we won't. No spoilers.
Nope.
No spoilers whatsoever.
I'll beat him in that, but the Celtics will also beat his Heat because I know that is a team he actually does care about. He
does. He cares about Actually, the worst part about the entire situation at the Caps game was at some point Jake just looked over to me and he was like, I found that since I've been getting more involved in sports media, I just care less about the teams that I like and that I root for so much. He's saying this to me as they're beating me. And as I still very much care about the Washington Capitals. Really the only pro sports team that I care about that much. Excuse me. But so that was the trip to DC. I'm fine now, mostly. But I don't think I'm drinking for a long time. I think I'm gonna take
I had a wild night, dog. I woke up and I use a phone wallet, so I just have 3 or 4 cards in there and my ID. And I woke up and my shit was like extra fat. Like I was like, why is it so big? So I looked in it. I had all my cards, but I had somebody else's card in there too. Like some stranger's credit card, dog. Oh. I was like, yo, that's wild. I didn't use it. I'm just saying I woke up with somebody else's credit. I'm thinking like the bartender just handed me another card and I was too drunk to notice because there was an Amex too. It looked kind of like similar. I folded it. I folded it up. And I was going to return it, but I can't go back to that place because I almost got into it with a bouncer. I don't think they'll let me back.
So I won't tell this story. Unfortunately
draft every week,
dude.
Draft.
A bouncer. I was vaping. I was hitting a Juul in a bar, and I was being like discreet about it. I wasn't like blowing smoke up in the air. And just totally minding my business. I was probably on Twitter, and this bouncer just like, yo, stop juuling here. I'm like, okay, sorry, bro. Like, I won't do it again. And then like later in the night, like probably like 45 minutes later, like I'm once again like hiding it. Like I'm not like blowing smoke in the air. Like no, I'm literally just chilling. And he literally grabs it out of my hand while it's like up to my face and basically punches me in the face and takes my Juul. I'm like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? And like, it escalated. It was.
You guys all had a pretty rowdy weekend. Sounds like.
Yeah, but you were wrong right there.
You were wrong. He asked you.
That's completely your fault,
dude. But that's like such a stupid. Like it wasn't like I was like being an asshole about it.
No, but you already got reprimanded once for it.
He wound up for touching you, but you wrong for it. You know what I'm saying? Like he was power hungry for sure.
Yeah, but it's just like stupid.
Stop juuling, man. And what is it? Is it just nicotine?
Yeah, man. I'm trying to quit.
You really addicted. That's crazy.
I'm trying to quit dip.
It's got its claws in you.
I'm quitting dip. It's a process.
I ain't mad at you. I'm a fan of that, man.
How's the process going?
Terrible.
Fighting bouncers from a jewel hit.
No.
I was the crazy part was I was like a peacemaker in the situation. In my situation. So like there was a dude who I grew up with, I ain't seen him in years, and he was having a conflict with his lady, and I was just like yo, hear her out, man. I was doing like, yo, listen to her. You gotta listen to how she feels. I was doing that kind of shit. And I guess he had a hat on. A buddy came over, like, that's 3 times, man. You gotta get out of here. You gotta go. And the dude came over just like hella aggressive. And my man was like, hey, man, my bad, man. You know, I'm a little drunk. He's like, I'll take it off. He's like, no, you gotta go. He said, I'll get all 3 of you out of here. And I was like, bro, you ain't gotta do all that, man. Like I'm sitting here, I don't got nothing to do with your hat situation. And he comes over, and I guess he didn't like the way I talked to him a little spicy, but it wasn't disrespectful. I was like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. And he's like, you don't do that. He's like, he kind of like taps me like that. And I said, I snapped. I lost it all. And I slapped his hand. I said, don't touch me, dog. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I was drinking. I had no conflict resolution skills at that point on. And then it just escalated because he was like, it wasn't my side. So he called backup. He called back. He's like, you need guys. I said, don't touch me, dog, because like I'll put you through this wall.
You know what? Dude, do they do the thing where they put the flashlight in your fucking eyes? That pisses me the fuck off.
I would have slapped it out of his hand.
I know.
I just don't like disrespect. I'm not even. I don't instigate shit. I just don't disrespect me, though, especially when I'm drunk, because I don't have the skills to not fight.
It's almost like they want you to.
I think I owe a bouncer my life from Friday night, though. I think a bouncer came over to me. He's like, "Okay, let's get you in a cab," and escorted me down the stairs. One of the last things I remember was being like, thank you, sir. As he was taking me down outside.
So, you was out there dolo?
No, I had some friends. So Mike Ryan from the Lebitard show, he came up for the game. He's a big Panthers fan, so he was out with me. He said that after I got to the bottom of the stairs, I then ran upstairs to go drink more. But yeah, I was out of my mind. It was a rare occasion for me. I usually don't like to do that.
I'd like to do that, but I can't be sloppy without a spotter, man.
Yeah.
You need a spotter.
I had him, a couple of my friends from back in the day, they were out there, went to 801. Shout out to security apparatus at 801, the bar there. They took care of me and made sure that I was safe and sound. So now I'm on that I think I'm done drinking for a long time now, just so I can fully recover my body.
I did 4 days in a row. I'm chilling for a while.
On the train ride back from DC, I fell asleep, and I was still drunk, definitely, from the night before. And then I woke up. I opened my eyes as we were at a stop. I looked out the window. I was like, oh, shit, we're in New York already. I got up to get off the train, and I started walking off, and I was about to walk out of the doors, and then I realized, wait, we're just in Philadelphia. we're about halfway. I was very close to just getting left in Philadelphia on that train. It was one of those things where you're like, okay, I need to take it easy for a little bit and let my body fully heal. Today I feel normal for the first time. I just needed all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and now I think I'm back. I'm officially back. So you guys want to do some voicemails now, and then we'll talk with Chief in a little bit.
Yep.
Okay. So before we do voicemails, they're brought to you by our good friends over at Manscaped. They just relaunched the Ultra Smooth Package. This specialized groin shaving kit is here to help you buff, protect, and shave your most sensitive areas. It's time to crop that bush of yours and get right to the roots with a discount just for you from Manscaped. Get 20% off and you get free shipping at manscaped.com with promo code DOSE. That's 20% off manscaped.com, promo code DOSE. If you've been thinking about getting Manscaped, don't wait any longer. The Ultra Smooth Package is a specialized 3-step groin shaving kit to help you buff, protect, and smooth your most sensitive areas. It's got crop exfoliator. It's a gentle scrub for the area. You got crop gel, clear lubricating shave gel, the crop shaver made specifically to shave the groin, 6 replacement blades, and a travel case. Get the Ultra Smooth Package from Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping with the code DOSE at manscaped.com. Smooth out your fellas with the relaunched Ultra Smooth Package from the fellas at Manscaped. Your balls will thank you.
Go on and give a shout out to Elon Musk real quick. Shout out to Elon. I was scrolling through my timeline, and he was on this little Twitter thread about how the algorithm's fucking with people's heads, which I always agree. I hated when Twitter took away the chronological order they tweets, and it's just like what's most popping or what you think is most popping. And you can change it. On the top right, there's the little stars on the Twitter jump. I didn't know that. I didn't even know what that button was for. I never really clicked it. And then you could put it back to where your Twitter's on a time feed. So I mean, shout out to Elon for pointing that out to me, man.
Yeah, that's the only way to do Twitter.
I did the same thing yesterday. I saw that tweet from Elon, and I was like, "Thank you, Elon." So I adjusted my time.
Both of you about that?
I can't believe people didn't know that.
Whoa, what's up with all the judging? Why not just be happy for us? I don't understand.
I more understand it with you. It's point. PFT's job to know where that button is.
Well, Coley, you were the one that was benefiting the most from the tweets out of chronological order, because my timeline on Saturdays and Sundays would be nothing but Coley talking about like a potential double dribble in the second quarter of a Celtics game. Be like, these refs need to be sent to the gulag. And
I can't believe how many people. I mean, this is you can tell how recent in human history we are to truly seeing each other communicate. Because like in Boston, like we had Tommy Heinsohn indoctrinating us for 30 years. The refs are the enemy, and they are. They're sports cops. I have no respect for them whatsoever. They're subhumans in my eyes. All game, I'm going to be on their neck. I don't care who's on the other side. I don't have enemies on the other sides unless they're on the Lakers. The refs are the enemy always, and I will forever carry that. Yeah, that's right, Arian. The Lakers. Lakers-Celtics. It's a rivalry. Have you heard of it?
Oh, you questioned my fandom.
You gave me this look like it was insane. I hate the Lakers.
Well, you didn't hate Kobe, dog.
I sure did. Of course I did.
You know what's crazy is like that really wasn't my era, right? So it's like I didn't really grow up with that being a thing. And so like I don't feel it. I guess you have to like do like, you know, you have to backlog your rivalry. So it's not really like it don't really hit me like that. Because like I find myself like wanting the Celtics to win this year because they playing that defense that's just like you admire as a basketball fan. Like I love watching that shit, and so it's like I'm rooting for the Celtics. Like
there's been a lot of Lakers fans doing that. I don't appreciate it.
Okay,
it reminds me of there were Red Sox fans.
Can y'all mute him? Can y'all mute him?
There were Red Sox fans in 2001.
I'm not a fan of the Celtics. I'm just rooting for them, dog. Like I like good basketball being played.
Listen, I appreciate what you're saying.
Yo, you can't even acknowledge that that's a solid move.
Well, listen,
that's crazy.
Hang on, I want to continue where he was going with that because I know, and it's
in 2001 there was I won't say a lot, but there was a healthy portion of Red Sox fans who were rooting for the Yankees against the Diamondbacks, and I firmly believe that's part of why the Yankees did not beat the Diamondbacks. Like you can't have your enemies rooting for you. I don't care what just happened. I do not care. Like you can't be. We hadn't won yet. It had been 83 years at this point. We hadn't won a World Series. You can't be rooting for the fucking Yankees.
Well, guess what? I'm ordering a Marcus Smart jersey right now.
Go for it. Houston's finest. No, excuse me, Dallas.
It don't matter.
It's the Crips and Bloods meme. Bandana's being tied together right now.
Listen, I'm not tying my bandana.
I'm saying one's trying to sabotage the peace treaty. This is crazy.
Listen. You'll never catch me slipping.
Can't trust him. That's Boston. It is what it is.
Even 9/11 didn't make you be like, maybe we let the Yankees get one.
They had 20 fucking.
Those guys have had a rough go of it recently.
They didn't win. They didn't need one. They just won the year before.
That was the joke. You think I didn't know that?
It's really like these guys have had a bad like. The last 2 months have been. It was so recent that it happened, and Coley was like,
"It was quite recent." Yes.
Coley was like, "Fuck them. I don't care."
What did you think of the Bush first pitch? Were you down with that?
Yeah, we've talked about this on this show before. Listen, I don't have a problem with New York, the city. The Yankees, I'll always have a problem with, and you'll never catch me wavering.
I dislike both fairly
Arian,
strongly. Be honest with you.
How excited are you retrospectively that David Stern did not let Chris Paul get traded to the Lakers because you guys would never have won another ring?
Can you say that to me in a different?
You remember Chris Paul when he was on?
No. I remember the trade. You're saying that they wouldn't have won a ring.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got enough stats to go off here. The body of evidence is significant enough where we can just say Chris Paul stinks.
We're not gonna do that.
Not a winner.
They would have definitely. That was prime Chris Paul with prime Kobe.
That was not prime. What was it? 13, 14?
That was prime Kobe. That's prime. What you mean?
This was
maybe on the descent, but he was still what? He was still a 30. 30-10 guy.
I can't.
Whatever.
At no point was he a 30-10 guy.
Kobe's a 30-10 guy.
10
10
what?
what?
Kobe's 30-10.
Turnovers?
No, maybe. Okay, he was like what 30, 38, 37.
What?
Come on.
Rebounds?
Yeah.
Kobe for his career averaged 25 points and 5 rebounds. I'm trying to see. Okay. I'm looking at seasons.
I know he got over 30 once or maybe twice.
Nah, it's definitely more than twice.
The most rebounds he ever averaged in a season was 6.9 in 2003.
So round it up. It's like 30-10. It's a moot
Yeah, 20 and 20. Yeah,
I'm just saying, David Stern saved Los Angeles.
What was it?
You should all be thanking him. You talked a lot of shit about David Stern.
What year was that?
I'm not
what
sure.
What year was the trade?
13 or 14.
It had to be before that.
I thought it was prior to that too.
No,
I think it was before.
Look, I was on Twitter when it happened, and I joined Twitter in 11, so I know it was post that.
I think it was around there, 11, 12. What, Big T, can you check that?
Yeah, I'm looking.
It was a great day. That was an all-time Twitter day.
I mean, it's
a great day.
It's kind of crazy to look back and think what happened that day, because David Stern was also the de facto steward of the New Orleans. Were they the Hornets at that time? I think they were.
They were the Hornets, but all 29 teams technically owned the Hornets at that point. So it gets thrown on to Stern. All 29, or they had to have at least had majority, maybe 2/3 of votes saying yes to let that trade go through. So the whole league was like, no thanks.
I think it was also Stern that the excuse that he gave was that since they don't really have anybody that's managing their team and looking out for the future of the team, because they were ownerless at the time, that getting rid of a player like that would so drastically impact the value of that franchise that he could not allow it to happen if they weren't going to get somebody good back for him.
He looked dead into the camera, and they asked what the reasons were, and he said basketball reasons.
Yeah.
That was his official quote on why this trade, basketball reasons.
It was.
That's what I was saying. So no, it was 2011 season.
It was December of 2011.
And that year, Kobe giving you 28 and 5. Stop it. That's prime Kobe, bro. What is you talking about?
I don't think he would have. I mean, it was the tail end, yes, because they didn't do anything after 2010.
I'm just saying we got to change the narrative to David Stern saved the Lakers.
Yeah, 2011 is when they when Andrew Bynum was trying to throw JJ Barea through the floor. That was 2011, and then by 12 the Lakers were cooked food.
I'm gonna be honest.
It was still 27-5, bro.
The Hornets would have gotten a fair that. It was Odom, Kevin Martin, Louis Scola, Goran Dragic, a first and a second round pick.
That stinks.
What did Chris Paul do for him?
What do you mean? They got more. What was the Clippers' eventual trade? It was Eric Gordon, Rashad Mbamute, I think. Definitely more picks.
Moral of the story is that would have got Kobe another one.
I don't know about that. I think you're underestimating.
I don't think a ball dominant point guard is what Kobe would have loved.
You're underestimating Chris Paul's Chris Paulness.
They got Eric Gordon, Al-Farouq Aminu, Chris Kaman, and a first-round pick in 2012. I don't know who that became.
Credit to Patrick Beverly. Pat Bev, I think it was in the fourth quarter of the game last night, tweeted out, let's see who comes up with the old fake injury excuse after this game's over. It should be a good one. And then about an hour later, Chris Paul had his quadricep wrapped up, and he was limping around somewhere in the hallways of the arena. And then they asked him about his leg. He's like, I don't want to talk about my leg. Please excuse me. I need to get to the trainer immediately. I know I'm getting on my ambulance right now. I'm getting out of here.
All-time great point guard.
Agreed.
No doubt.
I'm not with this slander, dog.
All-time great, but is he a Hall of Famer?
Oh, come on.
First ballot. Stop.
I think Chris Paul is a first ballot Hall of Very Gooder. They should name the entire Hall of Very Good after Chris Paul. The Paul of Fame. Listen.
Stop, man.
No rings.
Barkley's in the Hall of Fame.
Now I'm more upset last year that they got out of the West, because it would have been all time if he still just could never get to the third round.
Yeah.
If last year hadn't have happened and this year happened, that's I mean, yeah, I don't even know if he might have retired on the spot.
I don't want the Celtics to win anymore.
This is why you said you couldn't trust me. I'm the most trustworthy because I don't switch sides when it's convenient for me.
Nah. You kick wounded dogs.
Listen, I've been on Chris Paul's ass for a long time. This isn't a today thing.
Yeah, I know.
Chris Paul objectively is a fantastic player. He's awesome.
Yeah.
But you still got to root for these like continuing storylines to keep going on. It's fun.
I don't.
It's fun.
I don't at all. I wanted Chris to win last year. I was a Suns fan in the playoffs. Let's get it. I wanted to win.
I did too. I was rooting for the Suns last year. But listen, that's what you get when you hitch your wagon to Chris Paul. Sometimes you got to. I had to learn firsthand. I bet Chris Paul's over points total last night. I thought he was going to come through clutch. I did. I took over 17.5. He had a point in the first half. 1. Not 2 points. 1 point. Not 0 points. He had a point.
It's better than none.
Is it?
This might this might be a hot take. I think Chris Paul didn't play well, but I don't think this might be a hot take. I don't think D Book is as advertised. I just don't.
I want to remind the audience this is coming from a guy who did not watch the game.
No, I didn't watch the game.
I just want to make sure people know.
No, I didn't watch the game. What did he bring him back?
No one played well. No one on the Phoenix Suns played well. So
that's what's up. I don't. So like I remember D Book was getting like, yo, he's the next Kobe type shit. Like, and so I've watched him over the years. Like, I just don't see it. He's a very talented scorer, but I just don't see it.
This is classic Chris Paul apologia right now. This is what you say. It's like whoever the other guy is on the team. Oh, he didn't show up. May I remind you, Chris Paul had 1 point in the first half.
But he didn't show up either, though.
PFT, he was guarding the points. It's in his job title. What don't you understand?
Yeah,
making sure no points were to be had.
That's a good joke, actually. That is a good one.
You want to hear a real spicy take? I don't necessarily believe this, but I said it on last Friday's PMT, and there's like a kernel of truth to it. So it's more of a fun thing to talk about. Is it actually bad for Luka's career and the Mavericks? Is it bad for the Mavericks long term that Luka made it to the Western Conference Finals? Because you need to build, if you want the Mavericks to be like an outstanding team and you really take advantage of how great Luka is, you would need to build. I don't think that the team that they have set up right now is engineered to like go on a multi-year run or anything like that. Would it be better off for them if they had lost in the second round and then they have to make bigger moves in the offseason to try to find complementary pieces to them?
It's a bad take. It's a bad take because your star player needs to taste that shit. I believe that shit. He needs to taste it and to know what it feels like to lose in order to get that hunger and drive to where he comes back.
So losing the second round isn't a big enough taste for him. Like, he needs to be able to lose in a bigger situation.
He needs to taste it.
What about Trae Young?
We're not talking about the same caliber player.
Because you could say Trae Young, the run they went on last year, like, might not have been the best thing for the future of the Hawks.
You think Trae Young is in the same tier as Luka?
No, not necessarily, but I think the argument is kind of the same.
That's like, I don't know, like
that's Big T. The Hawks, whatever runs the Hawks ever make, they're gonna take them.
that's I think that's more like, but like Luka, Luka's a generational talent. Like, he's one of them cats. It's like, yo, he can carry your squad. Like whenever, however, year in and year out. But like Trae Young is like, he's just a really good player, like really nice, can shoot. But
I think that's fair. I also think that there's some truth to the fact that you can't compare the Hawks to the Mavericks.
No,
like the Hawks. Yeah. I think Coley's right. Where like Eastern Conference Finals, that's basically a dynasty for the Hawks all in one season.
Yeah, so they should be thrilled with getting that out of any of Trade's years after making that trade.
Yeah, that's like the ceiling.
Yeah, like that. And a lot of that, like if you looked at last year too, teams that didn't go deep in the bubble had more cohesive seasons. So like the Knicks were good. That was as big of a red flag as any that season wasn't like actually real. the Hawks made the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, it was just like, all right, what's happening here? The Suns were in the finals. Like, it was all these teams that didn't go deep into the bubble. Now you see the teams that went deep in the bubble, the Celtics, the Heat, not the Lakers, but all the real teams are back to where they should be after last year. So yeah, Trey, the Hawks should be thrilled with last year. Keep trying to build a competent team. Don't make weird phone calls that get your GM fired, stuff like that. But I don't know. Like, I thought you were going to go more like Dirk was seen as the biggest choker, not in basketball, but in professional sports up until 2011 when he finally did that. I thought you were more saying this is going to set his expectations too high and you don't want to do that this early into his career.
It's a little bit of both. It's more just the sport of saying the take. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't necessarily believe that shit, but but as long as you're the first person to make a take, that's what I really like the newness of it. And I haven't heard anybody say that about Luka yet. Also,
winning is bad.
Yeah, winning's bad. That's what I'm saying. Like, winning is actually detrimental to the future of this team. Our friend Sam Schwartzstein texted me last night, and he was making the point that Spencer Dinwiddie has been playing like an absolute maniac since Bitcoin crashed, and he's taking his entire salary in crypto right now. So he knows that, like, hey, I got to get out there. I got to get another contract because my contract is like worth 25% of what I thought it would.
Didn't we talk about this, or was this someone else, that he's getting the dollar value and then he's buying Bitcoin with it? So he gets it's pinned, remember? So he's actually getting more Bitcoin right now.
Is he?
Didn't we discuss this, that it was basically stupid because it's like he's getting paid in cash, but he's then taking that cash? Oh, no, that was Odell. We're talking about Odell.
Oh, he was just buying Bitcoin.
Yeah. Odell was getting paid in Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think they're the same because I don't think
they can.
Industries were ready. Like, I don't think the NBA was ready to pay someone outright in Bitcoin. So I think you are right, but we were talking about Odell when we had that conversation.
Yeah, so I think
let's do a weekly. How's Bitcoin doing?
Time to buy. But like,
what is it? Last week it was what, 36?
Yeah, I think it's 30.
What is that?
Oh shit, it's under 30.
Okay,
it's 29.
Oh my god. I cannot express to you how happy that makes me.
Why? Oh my god, it's dropped.
What was the highest it got to? 70? Did it hit 70?
Yeah, it was up. It was up big.
Okay, here's the article. I found this. Spencer Dinwiddie is planning to turn his 3-year, $34.36 million extension with the Brooklyn Nets into a digital investment vehicle. So with this securitization, Dinwiddie would receive a smaller payment in a lump sum, which would then allow him to immediately invest in a bond that exists as a digital currency. So he took a discount on his contract so he could get it all up front. So then he took that money and bought Bitcoin or crypto with it. And then so he has lost a good amount of money on it probably. Oh, on this article here, this is interesting. So this is a Bleacher Report article that I'm reading right now from 2019. After it says about Dinwiddie, it says, though no one has utilized this method of payment in the NBA, former NFL running back Arian Foster listed himself as a private stock in 2013. A little ricochet shot at you, Arian.
No, has nothing to do with me. We was trying to do something totally different.
How'd that work out for you? I think
you're trying to sell shares in yourself?
No, so what it was like, okay, so it's like betting on yourself basically, right? So it's like it's like selling shares of your potential earnings. It's basically you're a business, right? And so let's say I have a contract and people want to, I sell a certain percent of my contract to the public, and people are allowed to buy like points on it, get shares of it. My evaluation, right? I get paid up front for my evaluation. So like I was gonna get paid like a X million amount of dollars, whatever they thought I was valued at, and then the people buy shares of that. And so it was really for like protecting the assets of players through injury. Like that's what it was really for. It was like hella innovative, way before its time. Like, but it didn't pan out. I didn't lose $1 from it though.
You didn't lose $1. How'd your investors do?
It never got up off the ground, so it never actually went through.
Oh, so he tried to do pretty much the same thing before he pivoted to this crypto thing, and the NBA wouldn't allow it.
But it's not crypto. It was money.
No, I know. No. I'm saying exactly what you just said. He tried to do before he did the crypto thing. He tried to make himself a stock essentially.
Yeah. And it's basically like, I mean, it makes sense. Like people are really invested in sports. Like so you can like, yo, I got a certain amount of percentages in so and so's contract. That's like dope, right? You can like, but it was just a business model that didn't pan out. But I didn't lose I didn't put nothing into it.
All right, we welcome on Chief. Chief is back,
back.
His triumphant return to macrodosing. I was not on the previous one. We talked about microplastics.
Yep. We talked about microplastics for maybe like 20 minutes or something like that, and then we went into some tangent, and I'm like, man, I love being on this podcast. So I'm glad to be back because I had to leave that early too, but I could have sat and talked with you guys for hours.
That's kind of how it goes. Yeah. We go off on our little tangents. But we wanted to get you on. Billy has been back channeling with you a little bit. And he says that you've got a theory that will blow everybody's minds here. So we've all been researching a little bit our own ancient history conspiracy theories.
Okay.
Conspiracy theories from former civilizations. So I've got one. I think a couple other people here might have one they want to talk about. But he said that the one you wanted to discuss was the theory of the 3 corporations.
Yeah. So like those corporations, I would say, are in air quotes. They're not like it's Amazon. It's the Vatican City, the City of London, and Washington, D.C. And you can go through like documents. There's like an act of 1871, and that basically gave Washington, D.C. its own constitution. Like they're kind of outside. It's like the United States of America and Washington, D.C., which we're our own kind of separate thing. And it's basically like you have like a trident, a triumvirate of things that control everything. So all the finances flowed through the City of London. The City of London is not London. Like London is outside the wall. So it was like an original, they had like these Roman walls, and they kind of built this city, and they're their own entity. They're more similar in practice to like Scotland or Wales or Northern Ireland in terms of like their representation in Congress. Like if the king wants to enter the City of London, there's like all this pomp and circumstance. Like he has to be invited by the mayor who has like some crazy lordship thing. Any laws that are passed by British Parliament, they don't have to adhere to them. They're like their own thing. They got their own crest, their own laws, their own everything.
So what part of London, the city that we know, is this City of London located in?
So London, the City of London is like inside of it's like a nipple inside of an areola inside of a breast.
Got it.
Okay,
Yeah, please describe everything in
sexual terms. Like I don't know why that just popped in my head, but that's what it popped in. And so it has like an actual wall from Roman times, and then that was the original capital, and then all the power kind of flowed through there. Like the famous London Bridge kind of runs right into it, and then Westminster Abbey was built basically because they're like, we're shifting the power. Like we don't really trust those people who live and operate in the City of London. So I think it was William the Conqueror. Like he's like, I'm the king, and he like laid siege to like the City of London, but couldn't quite get in. So they just like had an agreement, being like, I'm your king, right? Right. Your laws don't apply to us, right? Right. And it was like a handshake deal that is still in place, and it's been codified, but it's been in place for like forever. And it's like they really adhere to it. And if you look at like what types of business, all the businesses are like, all the financial services businesses are run through the City of London. There's speculation, there's all sorts of like money laundering because they don't have to like report things the same way. And so it's like the military power comes from DC, the wealth and finance influence, and a lot of the media influence, because I think it was like two of the bigger media corporations historically in England had their headquarters inside the City of London, so they're not like, they don't necessarily have to be investigated the same way. Like there's all sorts of like little loopholes and protections that are built into their code that the government, England needs like special requirements to get in and investigate.
So who runs the City of London? Is it like a power that's passed down? Do people get voted in, voted out?
That is the conspiracy.
It feels like you can't just have like a sovereign district and then just allow anybody to run it based on like the popular election.
Right. So it would be, but it's like, I don't know if you guys have talked about the Rothschilds before, but it's like the Bank of England is in the City of London. Lloyd's of London, City of London. So all these like hyper powerful, influential businesses and corporations, they have their headquarters there, and that's always been a financial hub for the world since like the 900s, like since England was like becoming, what we think of as like the British Empire, when they really kind of got started with like their empire building in like the 1400s. But when they were consolidating power under William the Conqueror, it was like a Roman settlement where they actually built like a Roman wall, and then that was the city, and then the rest of London was built out around, like fanned out around it.
Okay, I've always wondered about London because have you guys been to visit? You guys ever been to London?
I haven't, but I'm going. If Nottingham Forest, I've been like big into them for soccer. If they win tomorrow, I've taken all my gambling winnings and I'm going for like the end of May.
Hell yeah!
So that's going to be that trip. But
what about you guys? Have you guys been?
No, I ain't never been.
I've been. I was there during Brexit.
One thing I wonder is why doesn't, so we talk about all these soccer teams, right? Why does London have a soccer team?
Yeah.
They got like a zillion.
So many.
I know, but which one's the one in the city of London?
They've got a lot.
Chelsea,
30.
Fulham, Arsenal, they're all in London.
West Ham.
There's literally
within
30.
the city of like the city we're talking?
The one that we're talking about?
That's what I'm saying.
That I don't know. I don't know if there's a stadium inside the city of London.
That's actually attached to it almost, because why isn't there like a London FC like the New York Yankees?
I think there's just because there's too many. Like it's almost like a neighborhood thing. It'd be like having 6 baseball teams, and it's like, well, it's the Bronx Yankees and it's the Queens Mets. It's like it's kind of more like that.
But technically, I feel like those teams are outside of that city. That's why they're called like Manchester FC.
Yeah.
Like,
well, Manchester is in the city of Manchester.
It's in the city of Manchester, not the city of London.
Well, the city of there's the city of London. So you see that map, that little red dot there?
Yeah, very small.
That's the city of London, and everything else is just London. So it's still London.
I think,
but there's the city of London. Like I wish they had different names,
right,
Billy? But that's what they call it.
But the thing is, I don't think there's a London FC.
Right,
there isn't.
I think the block would be too hot if they got like, their own football team. It would draw like a little too much
because they'd be paying the players.
Well, it'd probably also be owned by like a Saudi prince, and
Newcastle is now.
Newcastle's owned now, yeah. But I was wondering about London because I've been there a couple times. This is going to sound probably very ignorant of me, but like I really don't get what the big deal is about London. I've never understood why it's looked at as being this financial hub, as like one of the best cities in the world to go to.
Well, I think it goes all the way back to Roman times.
Okay,
and Vikings
and Viking times. Because like to me, if you were to ask me what are my top 50 cities in the world, London ain't there.
Really?
Yeah, I
okay.
It's a fine place. They've got a nice museum, but all the shit that's in it belongs to other cultures that they just kind of take.
There's a great stand-up bit about that. I don't know if you've seen that. It's like kind of gone viral recently, but he's like, no, we have it. I'm like, how do you know you have it? Because we have it behind glass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like all the shit there. I remember walking through, and like every single piece was like being disputed by the country that it was discovered in, and like they have to update you every like 6 months to a year of like what items have been shipped back to their original countries because of valid legal claims.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
It is.
And
then it's like the stand-up bit was like, well, we're not done looking at it yet. We've had it for 500 years. We're not done looking at it.
But it's here.
Yeah.
But it's here right now.
Right.
Yeah. I just maybe I just haven't seen London as an adult. Last time I went there, I was probably like 21 years old, 22 years old. But never really got what the big deal with. Like the weather sucks there.
Yeah.
It's super crowded. It's always gray. Everyone's in a big hurry. No one's nice. I don't know.
Werewolves.
And it's got werewolves of London.
Damn.
Yeah.
Don't like that.
Saw a werewolf drinking a pina colada in the rain. I'll
be on the lookout for that.
Yeah,
for werewolves.
But I never understood why London is why it's known as a financial center. I mean, I guess I understand that the British Empire was.
I think that's what it is.
It was spread all across the world.
Yeah,
it was
sun never sets.
The sun never sets on the British Empire. But I guess consider this a shot at London that I'm taking right now.
So where do DC and the Vatican come in?
Vatican, I want to know about.
So the Vatican, that and like when we did a podcast on Dog Walk a little bit ago, and we kind of like wove them all together. So the Vatican, so it was like the three most powerful things you need to run the world are the finances, the military is run out of DC, and then religion to like control the narrative. And they have an astounding amount of money, and it's speculated that those three places combined, 80% of the wealth in the world is somehow connected to those three. And the Vatican, it's like you can kind of trace it. And I'll pull up my wrote a blog about it too, so use it as like cliff notes.
The Vatican's very wealthy, yeah.
Yeah.
The Catholic Church has a shitload of money.
Now I guess London
and real estate. They have like crazy amounts of real estate. And they don't have to pay any taxes, and they have it set up.
So does the Queen.
Yeah. So the other thing, like as far as like the conspiracy of these places go, they all have these things called obelisks, which are just large. Like it's the Washington Monument, right? So the Washington Monument is considered one. And it's like, so if you keep coming back and tracing it back. So and Cleopatra's Needle is in the city of London, which they actually literally like took from Egypt. It was originally a piece in Egypt. And same thing in St. Peter's Square. They have an obelisk too. And that one was originally in Egypt. So there's like, it could be the Romans. It could be even further back than that, because they all have like these similar things. And then if you want to talk about like, there's connections. Like you read the Da Vinci Code?
I've seen the movie.
Okay.
I read it.
Okay. And it's like you can link like the Freemasons back to the Knights Templar, and it's like, well, George Washington was a Freemason, and the Knights Templar obviously had heavy influences in London and the Vatican, and other stations of the cross across the Middle East. And then they I'm trying to find the other one.
You know what's crazy? The where they had the chariot races in Rome, they took, I think, Cleopatra's Needle from Egypt, and they put it in that Roman chariot. Let me look that up.
Okay.
How did they decide that Washington D.C. was going to be the last one? Like when the United States became its own country, or they're like, you know what, we need a third.
Well, I was just thinking it was probably London militarily until they realized that they didn't have the.
Yeah, I don't know about the dates, but like obviously, like the founding fathers had very strong connections, like there's many Freemasons in the founding fathers, so right. I think it was just like, hey, we're going to start like our own outpost, and it's like we have this opportunity and again, like if you talk about the city of London, a very like mistrustful, it's not like they're in bed with the crown. They're like, hey, we're our own entity. So if your power base in the United States is like, hey, we're battling the crown, but when we pop back up, we're going to be more like the people who are running the city of London.
Got it.
I think that's kind of the thing. And then it's like, so you have like all these kind of secret societies that all have like some like commonality between them that going all the way back pre-Roman even.
What do you know about the Freemasons? We were talking about the Freemasons on the last show, and how they're very confusing to us, because I feel like they're one of the clubs that it's kind of like a fraternity.
Yeah.
For guys that just want to like be part of the community.
Well, like you can get in. Like I dated a girl from Tennessee, and her brother's like, yeah, like I am in the Freemason. I'm like, can I get in the Freemason? Like if you're in it, why can't I be in it? But so I think but maybe there's just like levels of it, and one of the other things that's in the city of London is I think it's the single largest Freemason lodge and one of the oldest.
Okay.
So that's, again, contained inside the city of London. Not London like 2.0, but the original city of London.
Do they allow anybody to go in there? Like if I wanted to go into the city of London?
I don't believe so, but I will try that when I'm there at the end of the month.
Yeah, go check it out.
Yeah.
I saw the Freemasons Lodge in Washington, D.C., and that was a hoss of a building.
Yeah, and this one is too. It's like you look at it and you're like, how can anybody even get in there? It's just like all cinder block, like big cement stone. Like it doesn't look like it's not like a beautiful building to look at. It's just like this big thing, or it looks like a fortress.
And when Washington, D.C. was created, I know that the streets are laid out using Freemason symbology, and you can see like the angles of the streets are very clearly designed. That was probably just like a heads up, like, hey, like this is your new spot right here.
Right, a little wink and a nod to those who know.
Make us the third place for you guys.
Right.
So if you were to describe the power structure of these three corporations, do they all exist just to benefit each other, or is there like one thing that they funnel up to?
I mean, that's the mystery, right? Like who is actually in charge? And it's like, is this like kind of like the New World Order stuff? And they, and you can link things back to, all the way back to like the Council of Nicaea, like what gets in, what gets out, and like that kind of fans into these other groups. And like those obelisks, if that's another thing from like the Da Vinci Code and other things, where it's like the early Christianity is nothing like what we think about it. It was like, have you heard of John Marco Allegro?
No.
He was this he was a scholar, a religious scholar, who was like the foremost, like a PhD in linguistics, and like would be able to decipher anything. He was in charge of deciphering the Dead Sea Scrolls, and he wrote this book called, it was like Sacred Mushroom and the Cross, and then it was something else like Christianity and something in the Christian myth. The Catholic Church, and they were like in the late 70s, these books came out. Catholic Church bought them out of publication. I thought they were like so dangerous, they bought them out of publication. There was a lot of symbolism, like that obelisk inside of a circle, which is most prominently seen in St. Peter's Square, is a symbol for these early Christian groups for these fertility rituals that they would do. So it's like they have like all these little things. You're like, that's fucking weird. That's fucking weird. That's fucking weird. What their goal is, I don't fucking know. That's beyond anything I could find. But it does seem like all these different groups are kind of linked, and it makes some level of sense.
Huh. I think that the internet probably fucked up a lot of things as far as the messaging goes.
Yeah.
From like these old secret societies that used to be able to control all facets of the media.
Yeah.
Now you can have like the head of the Knights Templar, the Lord King Prince of the City of London, like issuing an edict, and then somebody from, I don't know, the New York Post puts out an article about it, but then you've got like Boner Hitler 420 underneath being like, suck my peebus.
Yep.
And then it kind of ruins the entire like propaganda efforts behind it, because everybody's got some sort of connection that can dispute everything.
Well, like looking back, it was thinking about what the Vatican's role was in that triumvirate. Like they controlled media before media was a thing.
Right.
Like, before media was a thing, religion was media.
They invented media.
Yeah, like they had a person in every town who was talking to all the people once a week, and that's how they would get messages across.
The Bible,
greatest selling book of all time.
Yeah.
The Bible was like the first mega hit blog.
Yeah, dude, Jesus was the first blogger.
Yeah.
I think I said he was the first content creator.
Yeah.
I had a tweet on Easter. Someone was like, who from the
He's
Bible?
He's an influencer.
Yeah, I was like, who from the Bible would be the the first influencer? Was like Jesus, literally.
Yeah, the Roman sandals was just his like Coachella fit.
Yeah.
The Bible is legit content.
Last Supper's a hype house. Yeah.
Big T, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on where we're going with all of this right now.
In what way?
Just like what are your thoughts on secret societies in general?
I find them to be bullshit, kind of. Like, I don't, like, they can do whatever they want. Like, I don't.
Do you think that they have like
I don't feel strongly about them.
You feel like they have an outsized like sphere of influence in the world?
Possibly, but like, we don't know. So maybe.
Yeah, when you think of like things that are wrong with this country that you don't like, do you put where would you put the blame most squarely on? Would it be on the politicians that we have?
That has led up to where we're at, yes. Currently, no.
So where's it at now?
I think there's a lot of
Rachel Maddow.
The media, certainly, but I think, like I said, leading up to now, they've done an extremely effective job of infiltrating the public, and now the public is destroying itself.
We're all the media right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like some very bad messaging and ideas have permeated society to the point that now the machine runs itself, basically.
Chief, can you talk a little bit about the Catholic Church and where their money comes from and what they use their money for? Do you know anything about that?
I know where their money comes from.
Yeah.
I don't think it's donations, like the way that they try to make it seem. I think they're responsible for like billions and billions, like $300 billion is in their and they have like priceless art and things like that. But I don't really know at this point where their money comes. Do you know where their money comes?
They do a lot of refinancing.
They're a huge real estate company.
Yeah. So they get real estate, like they have enough assets where they can just borrow on them and keep it going. And indulgences were a pretty big hit for them, like back in the day. So
yeah.
That did put money in the bank. And I think it's definitely has to do with, there is also tourism. I gotta say, the Vatican pales in, like, if we're talking, let's like imagine like the Vatican and like Mecca are like what you call it, like amusement parks.
Okay.
Like
rival amusement parks.
Yeah,
So we got like Universal Studios and then Disney World.
Exactly. Like Mecca is low-key Disney World. They get way more heads in there.
Yeah.
Could the Vatican play in this era?
The Vatican, like, there's not as many people taking pilgrimages to the Vatican as Mecca. Mecca is like, it's
like the Mecca. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think Mecca recruits well though. Like the Vatican, they get people from everywhere. They got the art, they got the architecture. Mecca is like
they got satellite camps.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. It's like I think it's true. Like a lot of people go to the Vatican for tourism. I think they make a lot of money there, but it's not one of the ritual. It's not like one of the I'm probably
the 8 tenets,
the pillars, one
8
of the pillars.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but they get way more people. Like,
it's a scene.
Yeah, so thinking like tourism, I don't think makes a good amount of the Vatican's money. Like,
I would agree.
That's why I'm saying like Mecca has a serious income stream from the people who go to Mecca.
So I guess the next question would be like, who started the Catholic Church? Because it would go like
John the Baptist.
Catholic Church would be number one. John the Baptist started.
Or no, it was Peter, the rock upon which the church was built. Right? Wasn't he like the founder of the Catholic Church?
So
I think it had to do with the Holy Roman Empire, and just
the Holy Roman Empire was like Germany, like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But when it first became Christianized, the whole thing. Let me do a little bit of.
Well, they were like the original house of the Vatican where the Pope lived was in France for a while, and then they switched to Rome, like much later. So I think, and then maybe at Constantinople at one point too. I think the Pope might have been there. So I think it's been in Rome for at least like 500-600 years.
So apparently Jesus started the Catholic Church.
Okay.
So yeah, just
that would make sense
when you Google it.
Checks out when you really think about it.
Yeah. So, no, but that was a wild time when there was like 3 popes at the same time.
Yep.
No one knew where the popes were. They had guys in.
Well, that was like Orthodox first. Yeah.
I mean, losing Constantinople.
Tough break.
Huge L for
Christendom.
Huge L for Christendom.
Never really recovered.
Yeah, that was such a trap game.
I miss Pope Wars. Pope Wars were like you had just giant wars being fought because one guy thought that God spoke to him in a slightly better way or like in a different language than they spoke to the other person in.
I mean, speaking of the Templars, I had a little bit of my conspiracy about the Templars. They were basically just a bunch of dudes who, like, they sent them to protect the pilgrims going to the Holy Land.
Yeah.
Basically because Europe was becoming there's too much war in Europe because there's so many rival factions and just so many angry second sons with no land who are just fighting each other, and it was too much. And the Pope was just like, we have all these angry dudes who can't get land and can't get wives.
Can't get laid.
Can't get laid. What do we do with them? And they're just like, why don't we just send them over there?
Yeah. And that was like one of the things that they did was they kind of invented modern banking, where you could stop at like a Knights Templar place and hand them a satchel of gold or some kind of valuable, and they would write you a note. And then when you got to Jerusalem, so that way you didn't get like robbed along the way and like, oh, I'm fucked now. I'm in the Balkans and I'm broke.
Yeah.
And so you would get to Jerusalem or wherever you're stopping, and you could hand them that banknote, and they would you left your cash 800 miles away, 1,000 miles away, and they were good for it. So they had like these different banking systems, and they think that's kind of how when they like went underground a little bit because they all got assassinated Friday the 13th. That's why Friday the 13th is considered unlucky.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So basically, once the Holy Land, they weren't needed anymore because the Holy Land got taken over, I think, by one of the Muslim empires, and it was basically like, we have nowhere to go, nowhere to protect. And basically one of the French kings were like, well, we got all these Templar dudes who are pretty freaking powerful because they have all the money and they also know how to fight. They're rich and know how to fight. And basically was like, started a smear campaign saying that the Knights Templar worshipped
they're heretics and
Baphomet, the devil, and they did some I remember that I have a serious memory burned into my brain watching the History Channel on like a Sunday when I was younger, because they described the torture they put the Knights
crazy.
Templar, and I was like 7. I was like, what? I was like, they hung them by their balls.
Yeah.
Like from the ceiling. Like disgusting shit.
Well, and that's why they think that the Templars went underground, but they had like people like pockets. Like there was a pocket in like Spain, a pocket in Portugal, and a pocket in England, and then they like kind of reemerged as the Freemasons.
Yeah,
that's kind of like they rebrand, but they were like underground for a long time, and they did have all the money because they had like for whatever reason they had a direct like access to the Pope, and the Pope like gave them, you guys can do whatever you want. So they used to call it usury. Like if you were like you could not lend out money with interest, like that was against Christianity.
Yeah.
The Templars were allowed to do that.
Okay.
So they had like certain rules. So they kind of like the King of France was like, man, like fuck these guys, and that's why he wrote like a letter of decree to like all like his people around the area, being like, hey, we're getting rid of the Templars on Friday the 13th. And most of them got murdered, and then some of them escaped, and like I said, went underground for a long time.
Was it like riots that got them, or was it like pitchforks? Was it common people?
No,
or did he have
it was
like squads go out?
Squads, like death squads. Yeah. Like it was like, hey, open up this letter. Hey, go like take your boys, go kill the Templars in the area.
That's so metal that the Pope used to just be able to decree assassinations.
So it wasn't the Pope. It was the King of France. Like the Pope was with the Templars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like like the Templars were still like had this religious status. They also had the money status, and it was like those guys are too powerful. And I might have this a little bit wrong, but I think maybe the Pope and the King like were both like, all right, like we both agree on this. It's time to.
Yeah. They're too powerful.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
I mean, and then also like to this day, even in countries that abide by Sharia law, usury is still illegal. So you can't technically like take out a loan, but they've gotten around it.
Can't be charged
nowadays.
interest. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've gotten around it and just renamed interest to I forget what
like
it is.
Handling fee or something
like
that.
Like payments over time.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, usury is still illegal in the United States, but it's the definition of usury is now just like exorbitant amounts of loans and like predatory loans, but that definition has gotten stretched and stretched and stretched.
They don't even enforce it.
They don't really enforce it, and like there's so many places that make a lot of money based on like crazy payment rates. Yeah.
Payday loans,
car title loans, those sorts of places. But usury I think it's kind of evolved to be a term of like excess interest. Is now technically illegal, but nobody really enforces that anymore.
They should.
But yeah, it used to just be like you're not allowed to make money off somebody else's money.
Right.
Taking advantage of minors with, loans, like that should be illegal, right?
Yeah. And then
that's usury.
Another thing, so from this connection with the DC and the City of London, so there was a treaty in 1794 signed between England and the United States, and it was negotiated by John Jay, who was a famous Freemason. But it was like why would the question was why would the United States need to sign a treaty with England 13 years after the Paris Treaty? And it was because there was Article 6 and Article 12 say that basically was like, yeah, you're independent but not really. So they tried to like break off even further from England because there was language in the original treaty that said like we're still technically not really but technically part of England. And then the England was still trying to influence American monetary policy, and that was the real reason for the War of 1812, because the United States canceled the charter for the first national bank in 1811, and that was set up by like the Rothschilds and the people who were running the finances in the City of London, and we're like, fuck you guys, like we're not doing that. And they sent 4,500 British troops over, burned down the Capitol, burned down DC, both houses of Congress. Like they were just like, hey, like if you're not going to play by our rules, we're going to war.
Yeah.
And it was like they might have framed it up as something else, but there's theories that was the actual reason, the motivation for England to like burn down Washington.
We don't really talk about that, how England just absolutely pushed our shit in the War of 1812. Like they burned our entire capital.
Just Washington. We put up a good fight in the Northeast.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
But the capital is Washington.
I know, but the Northeast, that's why, the Canadians who try to come down, like we kind of stomped them.
Yeah.
Right? So just give our flowers where flowers are due.
Okay, you get the flowers for defending Montreal or against Montreal.
Yeah.
You guys own the St. Lawrence River. Yeah. That's our territory. That's the most important river in America, not the Potomac. Just get it straight. So yeah, they burned down. So you're saying they burned down all those buildings to send a message?
I think it was to like not even to send a message, but it was like, if you guys are not playing ball with this, so I don't know if there's like a follow-up treaty, but it's like that having a national banking system was a thing, is a discussion point in America forever.
Yeah.
And it finally got passed by Woodrow Wilson, and that was like a smoke-filled room thing where he had agreed, if he got financial backing from like the JP Morgans and all these people, to set up the central bank of the United States, and he signed it into law, not really knowing what he was saying. And then he has a quote saying, of all the things that I did, that was my most regrettable thing, was setting up the central bank of the United States.
Wow. I was watching a documentary on the financial crisis. I think it was like an HBO show that was just like behind the scenes interviews with everybody that was like super involved with that back in 2008 or 2007. I forget exactly when. I think it was 2008. And they were talking about how the Fed was just like, they had to step in at the last minute to ensure the stability of our financial system, and how like convoluted a system that we live in now, and how the Federal Reserve, like they do kind of go unchecked. Like I know the whole audit the Fed thing was real big for like Ron Paul and Rand Paul, but they like do kind of operate with impunity. It's just like we trust basically, because
it's not really like a government agency, really.
No,
it's like a semi-private.
Yeah. So I don't really like the people who are the real big audit the Fed people. I think for the most part they're just in search of a giant enemy to fight. But it is a weird situation that they have set up there. And really, our monetary system in the United States, it's crazy. It's just essentially based on trust.
Yeah.
It's just like if we all believe that dollars are worth something,
if we all agree, then it is,
and then we're all just going to like agree to massively like dilute ourselves.
Which I think you can kind of say about the gold standard too, because like gold, like it's a conductor of electricity, but that's not like its primary value. So it's like we all think that shiny thing is cool.
Yeah,
it's just like that. So it's, and I guess it is like it's somewhat finite, limited. So like, but it's all just we agree it's cool.
Yeah,
but you know what else is getting pretty cool?
NFTs.
Bitcoin's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
If we all agree,
it seems like it's declining in its coolness.
That's because Russia needs to fund their.
That's because people don't know that 3 slurp juices can be used to purchase an ape. So that's that's on them for not understanding.
No, but I mean Russia has to fund its like groups that aren't technically Russia in eastern Ukraine, like the Donbass region, and they've paid them in Bitcoin.
The Bitcoin actually makes more sense to me than our own money.
It kind of does, in a weird way. Like it's still, it's very theoretical for the most part, and it's based on the same principle, which is if enough people believe in it,
right?
Which is why Bitcoin people are they're the most important thing that they do is try to convert other people to also being Bitcoin people.
They're kind of like Mormons.
They really are. They're evangelists for sure. There's nobody that's like, oh yeah, kinda. Yeah. Like it's like no, like you're a zealot for Bitcoin.
That's straight up the selling point, because they know that the more people start to believe in it, the more valuable their own shares in Bitcoin become.
Right.
It's a massive.
Is it a pyramid scheme?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Dude, the crypto bros are kind of like the Knights Templar. You know, just a bunch of dudes just
out
there.
Did you guys see that thing about the slurp juices last week?
No.
I'm out of the NFT game.
It was I don't really understand it at all, but it was people that are really into the Bored Ape. There was like an additional product or service that they invented to help facilitate transactions of purchasing the apes. That was called a slurp juice, and they were trying to explain like you can use 3 different types of slurp juices to create and transfer an ape. And that's the point where I saw it and I was like, I'm out.
I can't do it.
I'm out. I can't go this deep into it.
I think the technology is cool.
Yeah, the technology is cool.
Yeah.
But they're just like creating all these different products around it. Like when we talk about the stock market and we were talking about like the financial crash, there was like synthetic funds that you could set up to
CDOs.
Where you could bet on whether or not somebody else was going to be making money, essentially.
Right.
And it was all like completely theoretical. That's what's happening. Like it's remarkable how quickly the NFT community and the crypto community has evolved to reach like levels of finance scams that took us thousands of years to get to with the current forms.
I got it. Art.
Yeah.
It could be as valuable as whatever we say it is.
Yeah, but if somebody can explain the slurp juices to me, I would really appreciate that because it sounds like a winner.
All of those terms, like, and I know nothing about NFTs, but all of those terms sound when you're playing sports with like your younger sibling, and they can't win, so they make up rules as they go, in order to like win.
Yep.
They're like, well, you didn't.
Actually,
technically
the couch is base now.
Right, exactly. Technically, that route is base and not that one, and you kind of touched the wrong one, so you're out.
And then if you get enough of your friends that are playing with you to be like, yeah, no, she's right. Yeah, that route's base.
Then the rules are the rules.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it feels like there's constantly something else to like change. Like the slurp. What the fuck does a slurp juice mean?
Nope.
And why is that money?
It's money. It's good. That's all you need to know is it's good.
But like, slurp juice sounds like something my little brother would come up with in order to bend the rules of whatever game we were playing.
Yep.
As stupid as it is, and it is incredibly stupid, it does kind of highlight how stupid money is in general.
Right. Is this just a giant troll of our financial system?
Because they're using the same, like, money. Real money is worth something because we say it is. That's worth something because they say it is. Like, it is incredibly dumb because we're already used to this one system, but like, it's no dumber than what we do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think NFTs are dumber.
That is correct.
Yeah,
yes.
But the Bitcoin, like I'm with you on that.
Yeah, it's just a smaller number of people agree it's worth something.
Right.
With finance, like our financial rules are set up right now where the people that understand them the most and that are in charge of them are also the people that control, like you said,
and they can manipulate it, and we just don't even know.
They can control it. They also control a lot of the military. They control a lot of the power in America. The people that really control NFTs are the guys that are like really into baseball cards, and so it's not weird. It doesn't feel as legitimate when they set the rules as when like the government tells you to do something. That to me, like, there's more power there. Now eventually, if it's like if Bitcoin goes through the roof somehow and El Salvador makes a shitload of money off all the money that they've bought so much Bitcoin over the years. If all of a sudden El Salvador becomes like a giant world power because of this massive supply of Bitcoin that they have, then more people will be like, I guess their rules are the correct ones now. That tree is hot lava.
You know what's going to be like the biggest? Like if one of the oil producing states, OPEC or something, starts trading like only in Bitcoin, that would actually be the anchor that could get it really injected into the world economy.
Well, I've heard a thing called Petrodollars. Still don't understand what that is.
Petrodollar,
yeah.
That was the whole idea that the U.S. has been waging the wars in the Middle East and like taking out Gaddafi because they wanted to ensure that the U.S. dollar was the currency of exchange when it came to any sort of petroleum products being exchanged, because there was some, like, they say that Saddam and Gaddafi all had this plan to develop a Middle Eastern dollar that they would sell their oil in, and that they all sell their oil in order to bring more of the value to their countries, which is a noble idea, but the whole it would debase the central banking system of the U.S.
Are you telling me that U.S. foreign policy is dictated by our financial interests in Middle Eastern oil?
No, I don't believe that.
I don't know, Billy. Listen, this is a conspiracy show. It's not a fantasy show, Billy. I don't know where you're making that up from.
My bad.
No, it wouldn't shock me at all, because I'm sure that the goals of Middle Eastern countries are, let's keep as much of this money in our own communities, in our own families, especially. In our own families. Yeah, probably they don't give a shit about the poor people.
Let them starve.
You don't want your cousin having more tigers than you,
right?
Exactly.
or very expensive racehorses.
Yeah.
I know. Of course, Billy went with the tiger analogy.
No,
dude, you see these videos,
my
bro.
cousin from my aunt that I'm not close with, has more tigers than I do.
Lions.
That's fucked up.
Yeah,
but yeah, they're literally like, they have slaves that build stadiums over there right now, so I don't think they really give a shit about poor people. But they want to keep it in-house as much as possible, and I'm sure that if the leaders are like any sort of responsible leader or like logical leader, they're thinking of different ways to get a bigger cut of the pie and to give the United States a little bit less of the pie. And so then certainly the United States is like, wait a second, this would be bad news for our money, so we're going to enact this foreign policy. That's literally how the world works.
Another stupid question.
Yeah.
So another thing that I don't understand, like, you always see like, oh, Washington's printing money, but like everything's digital now. So when they're saying they're printing money, like, they're not actually printing money. So are they just like, what are they doing?
The Central Reserve lends, like, there's a couple accredited banks, and the Central Reserve lends them money.
Right.
And the thing is, when they lend out that money, like...
But is it still just a wire transaction?
No,
it used to be
because
real.
it doesn't exist. Like, this was something I found out in a finance class. Money doesn't exist. They call it pen stroke dollars. When you get a loan, so a bank can have $1,000, but lend out that $1,000 to more than one person and just write it in and then give you...
So then you're like, yeah, so that's leverage. They're leveraged. Yeah. So you can the law of the land I don't know what it is now, but like they switched it. They changed the law, but it used to be the max you could be leveraged was 12-1.
Yeah.
And then during 2008, the big banks were like 400, 500, 600, 700 to 1, like just things that they just could not ever possibly keep track of. But then it's like this. So the Central Reserve, they loan the money out. Okay, well, how do you pay it back? With more money that they give you, but it always has interest, so you can never really ever pay it back. That's what I mean. Where like money doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so it's one big system that's dependent on time existing, just the march of time,
which is a social construct.
Yeah,
you couldn't have it if there was a black hole.
I mean, yeah, if there was a black hole, then you get paid for taking loans. Because it switches. Yeah, time goes backwards.
We just interviewed Brian Cox, the particle physicist, which will be on next week's Macrodosing. He was just on Part of My Take.
He was great on Part of My Take.
He was awesome. I could talk to that guy for hours and hours and hours. It was funny because at the end of the conversation, we were talking about all these terrible things that would happen either to a person or to the world once the sun, expires.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying how he's got this great gift to be able to smile and laugh as he's talking about the most devastating things possible to ever conceive to happen to everyone. And it's true. Like, he could talk about it. He's talking about terribly violent things, but he's got such a pleasant tone about him.
And it is just like, that's someone else's problem. I'll be dead for like 50 million years before that happens. Yeah.
But yeah, he's the, as I call him, he's the next nerd up, I think. I think in America, you can only really have one nerd at a time.
Yeah.
Right now, I think Neil Tyson is our nerd.
I can't stand him, though.
You hate Neil Tyson?
I can't
Let's
stand
go.
him. Yeah.
I've had my fair share of disputes with Neil on Twitter.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Y'all saw he pissed people off today, right?
Well, what
no.
Sure.
Apparently there's a lunar eclipse or something.
Oh, great.
And he said...
There was last night.
I'll find his exact words, but he said something to the effect of lunar eclipses are so unremarkable that if you didn't tell people they were happening, they wouldn't even know.
Oh, so great. Thanks, Neil.
So
cool.
they're actually stupid.
Neil's real big into that's not that interesting.
We were when we went to the Rangers game, thanks to Game Time.
Thanks
he was
to Game
there,
Time.
And you should have fought him.
I should have fought Neil.
Dude, do you guys remember the solar eclipse?
Yeah.
Those are sweet.
Yeah,
that was
when
cool.
Trump looked like straight at the sun.
Yeah, dude, that was
a funny picture.
That was one of the.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was the summer I worked. I was an intern at Barstool.
Yeah, because that was before we went to college.
Yeah, that was the summer before college, and that was like the rage. We had like darties.
Yeah.
To watch. It was just awesome.
I remember people would ask college football coaches, like, are y'all going to let your players go out and watch it? And I'm trying to remember who it was.
I think it was Muschamp.
Yeah, it was Will Muschamp. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, the like solar eclipse. He's like, I'm focused on like camp right now. I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's the perfect person to ask about the solar eclipse. Like, you should not ask Will Muschamp anything unless it's about like the responsibilities of a Will linebacker.
Yeah.
He can give you that, but like when you talk to him about Thanksgiving, he'll be like, I don't know what that is.
Mike Leach, Clemson this week.
Yeah.
Mike Leach would have been the solar eclipse question to ask. Like,
I'm sure he was.
Yeah.
I think Neil Tyson is just a gatekeeper. Like, he doesn't want anyone to think it's like cool that there's a eclipse going on.
He's like the science hockey Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he is.
He's just gatekeeping the eclipse. He's like, it's not really that cool. Meanwhile, he's like outside staring at it.
It's like a please like my job, but if you like it, you don't really know what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
Get lost.
He wants all the science to himself.
Yeah.
He doesn't want anybody else to appreciate.
He actually tweeted about it like
Thank you for
5 times,
amplifying
it
Brian
looks
Cox because you're right, we need another nerd.
We need a new nerd, and
Yeah.
he's actually a very cool guy. And again, the very soothing voice. He does a lot of voiceovers for like BBC programs. And
Okay,
stuff.
I didn't know that.
He's fantastic. I love this guy. So hopefully we'll have him on again when he comes to New York. But yeah, tune in next Tuesday for that episode. Big T, what were you saying?
Oh, he tweeted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times about it, basically talking about how unremarkable it is, and now if you like it, you're kind of Stupid.
He sounds like he really doesn't care about it.
Yeah,
Lunar
he just
eclipses.
spent all night last night furiously tweeting
Lunar
about
eclipses are so unspectacular that if nobody told you what was happening to the moon, you'd probably not notice at all. Just saying.
You know what he's doing? This is the old, like, I don't care about Michael Sam. This is him. This is him. Every time there was a news article about Michael Sam, it'd be filled with people replying to like, "Why is this news? Who cares? I don't care." That he's doing that to a fucking lunar eclipse.
I actually, a couple weeks ago, I was waiting on a flight at the airport, and they call for like passengers who were late or whatever. There was a flight to St. Louis, and they called for Michael Sam, and I didn't see, but I still wonder to this day if that was him.
Wow. What might
Fun
have been
story, right?
What might have been.
You guys might have.
I texted people about it and everything. I was like, I think Michael Sam might have been on the plane at the gate next to mine.
Yeah, I don't care. By the way, who cares? Who cares, Big T? I don't care about that news.
Is there something special about him or something?
He was great at Missouri.
He was great at Missouri.
SEC Defensive Player of the Year.
Co-defensive.
I think
player of the year.
they went to back-to-back Big 12 or SEC championships.
Their first 2 years in the SEC. Yeah. They got killed both times.
Mm-hmm.
My, how Missouri has fallen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they lose? How badly did you guys beat them this year?
It was like 62-20 or something.
That's pretty bad. And their coach is
Eli Drinkwitz, who's the App State coach.
Oh, their defensive coordinator then is
Barry.
Steve Wilkes.
Yes, that's correct.
The former head coach of the Cardinals. Remember that?
That's correct.
No. When was he the head coach of the Cardinals?
Yeah, I think he was right after
3 or 4 years ago.
Right after
Okay.
Bruce Arians, maybe.
Okay.
Or right before Bruce.
That's one of those names. I'm just.
Yeah, he had one season and then he was done. And man, talk about tough times. Now you're the defensive coordinator of a team giving up 60 points to Tennessee.
It was 28-0 in the first quarter, and then we kind of let up a little bit.
Yikes.
Billy, what you got?
Are we still talking ancient world conspiracies?
Yeah.
I would love to. I love
ancient world conspiracies.
So there's the Silurian. This is something that I've read and I cannot pronounce because I've only read about it. The Silurian hypothesis is a thought experiment which assesses the modern science's ability to detect evidence of prior advanced civilizations. So this is the idea that we can't detect if there was another intelligent civilization on Earth before us.
Okay.
I love that one, actually.
I'm interested in that too because I don't know. We can only know what we know through either like literature that we found or through like buried evidence, but who knows if there was like an awesome civilization that we don't know about.
There used to be this History Channel show, and I like same thing you were saying. Like I have this thing burned in my brain. It was like something like what would happen after people. Like after people.
I watched that one too.
And it was like
after us,
and it was like if all humans on Earth instantly disappeared at the same time, and they go through like the timeline of like what the cities would look like because the Earth just like reclaims it, and it would be like in 100 years. If there are no humans, you would not know that New York City was here. It's just like everything would be broken down, all the buildings would collapse, and like stuff would grow over it, and it'd just be gone. And they said that there would only be 2 man-made structures that would survive like more than 10,000 years without any help to like show evidence of intelligent life on Earth. Can you guess what they are?
Okay, let me
One of them's in the United States.
Okay, man-made structures.
The Bass Pro Shops pyramid.
Good answer, Mad Dog. Yes. They would actually just think that that was an actual like pyramid. That's where a pharaoh was.
Well, okay, if you're just like if you don't know anything about, who's to say it's not?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. That's where the president should live.
That's like what's the place that the president goes? It's like when you're a
Camp David.
Designated survivor.
Oh, there's also the Greenbrier in West Virginia.
Yeah. But like, you know what I mean? Like if there was a natural
the Denver airport.
We should bury John Daly in the
Bass Pro.
That's our pharaoh.
Yeah, John Daly's buried at the pinnacle of it, at the top, and he's stuffed like taxidermy.
Actually, I was wrong. It was life after people after us. Is a different similar one.
Yeah, life after people. Yeah.
There is a bar at the top of the Bass Pro Shop pyramid that we got to see. That's where John Daly should be stuffed and put in like the coolest chair possible up there next, and there should be live music playing
like Lennon
for him.
And it's
like
just
Lennon.
like a plaque that says he hit it the farthest.
This dude hit some bombs.
No. The name of the song. He hit it. I hit it hard, man.
Yeah. It's like Okay, so the two places.
One is in continental United States.
Okay,
I'm going to make a guess.
St. Louis Arch.
Nope, that would be
that's actually in the preview of it.
My guess is Mount Rushmore. But
it is Mount Rushmore.
Really?
It is Mount Rushmore. So
I just didn't think of that as much of like a. I mean, I guess it is a structure.
Yeah, so it's like carved into the side of the mountain, and for whatever reason, they say that that's like. They don't have like a ton of precipitation, so there wouldn't be much erosion. Like there would be some erosion, but not a ton. And there's no like natural disasters really in that area. So they're thinking like that structure would be safe.
Yellowstone volcano.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think it would still like even if that Yellowstone caldera exploded, like it would still be largely fine.
Still treasure right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the other one.
The other one should be more obvious.
Pyramids.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Huh. I was gonna say Sydney Opera House.
No,
that fall right in the ocean.
Right in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything else, those are the only two things. So if you think about it, and that's like I might have the actual date range wrong. I think it was 10,000 years, but I'm going off
or
like
100,000
something. But it like the dinosaurs like 40 million years ago. So if there was something that was like 40 million years before that could have been intelligent life, we just would never know.
So what would happen if let's just say only 100,000 people were left on the Earth? If there was a massive, like an asteroid hit and some people happened to survive, we would have to like try to restart society, but we would pretty quickly just go back to the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Because unless
who knows how to do anything?
Unless there are people that have access to a factory and know how to run it and all this stuff, how are you going to know how to do it?
How do you even like power the factory?
Yeah, and how do you have the time to get the factory up and running when you need to be worried about clean water and how to get food?
Well, there was a major extinction event that there was only about 10, I want to say either 100,000 or 10,000 humans on Earth.
The flood.
Yeah.
The Great Flood.
So, like, hypothetically, what if before that flood, like, there was a couple pockets of intelligent life? Or maybe not
like
even...
Atlantis.
Yeah, like, maybe not even, like, advanced civilization, but, like, just maybe some Greek city-state type civilization, like way back before, like hypothetically, what if like the Neanderthals or like the Denisovians had city-states with technology and Homo sapiens came and just overran them, and or there was a natural disaster and there was like serious advancements.
Like, so along those same lines, Billy, I was going to talk about old societies that may have discovered the ability to fly. So not people fly, but discovered aviation. Because it would make sense to you, like, just in the last 100 years, 200 years, were we the first people to look at a bird and be like, wow, I wish I could do that?
Yeah.
No, people definitely thought that for a long time.
Da Vinci had, like, blueprints for flying machines, too. Like, I don't think he ever realized, like, never made them work, but, like, clearly, to your point, people were thinking about it for a long time.
Yeah, he had, like, a helicopter machine. He had a couple other things, but there's a couple others that if you look back, there's something called the Sakari bird, and this was from let's see, it's Saqqara, Sakari bird, and it was based from a civilization in Colombia, I believe, and they discovered these golden artifacts as they were unearthing some of the remnants of the civilization, and they're these little golden pendants and pieces of jewelry that are shaped.
I mean, this looks like an airplane.
Hang on, wait. No, I'm mixing two up. The Sakari bird was a wooden bird. It was almost like a toy that very clearly, if you look at it, they understood the principles of aviation. It's obviously it wasn't a manned flyer. You couldn't climb on it and fly anywhere. It wasn't powered. But if you threw it, much like a paper airplane, the Sakari bird would glide. And so you knew that back then they understood the basic fundamentals of you need force behind whatever it is. You need wings. Yeah. And they understood lift.
Can you imagine if someone in like 100,000 years like found Matchbox cars? I'm like, they understood it. They understood cars.
Yeah, they
like
got
maybe
it.
that's what this was. Like maybe they actually had it and it was like this bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. I think the problem would be they didn't know how to propel it, like how to power it.
Yeah, and again, it could have just been like a model of something bigger that they had that was made out of lighter wood, and maybe they did figure out how to push it.
They even had metalworking stuff in Egypt, though. Like you just I don't know.
They had cocaine in Egypt.
They did?
Yeah, they found.
I knew they had alcohol.
That's why the Sphinx had its nose eroded.
Dude, that's fucking.
Did they have coke back then?
Yeah, they found it in the mummies, cocaine mummies.
Man, I never knew that.
Talk about like an all-time like that. How bad would that suck? You like went through your entire life not getting caught using any drugs whatsoever, stayed out of trouble, and then like 20,000 years later, they're like, actually, this person had a coke problem. That's what you're known for.
Cleopatra, coke whore.
Oh, for sure. Every leader back in the day.
Yep.
Oh yeah, so they're saying that there was early trade routes between Egypt and South America because of finding the cocaine in the mummies. Wait a second, I may have misremembered.
Maybe they flew
this.
those big Sakara birds over there.
Yeah.
It also just could have been the explorers were coked out of their minds.
Yeah, no, they
like, stash this here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're going through customs.
And
they're like, oh shit, I'm gonna get arrested.
Shit, put it in with the mummy. Put it in with the mummy.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah,
got. I think they made a. So they
King
found
Tut had
nicotine.
an 8-ball. He was buried with an 8-ball. That's crazy.
Wait, what? I need to read this.
So there's the Sakara bird, which you can look up online. It could be a toy. It could be a child's toy that was based on something bigger that they had. But regardless, they understood the principles of flight then. And then the other thing I was talking about was the golden flyers. The golden flyers were from Teotihuacan in Mexico.
Oh, nice.
And they were called the Cambaya golden flyers. And they're these little pieces. They're these little pieces of jewelry that look like small insects, or they actually look a lot like airplanes, like modern airplanes.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they were based off of like a modern airplane because it was from an ancient civilization. But the design of them, they've got like tail fins. They've got wings that go out, not like any other bird would, but the wings go out like from the bottom of the insect or whatever it's designed
that's
after.
A good point.
So it's designed in a way that would support flight if you were to put this into like a much larger scale. Now, they didn't find anything like huge that was an airplane, obviously, from back then. But if you look at the design of these, you would definitely think, okay, they understood how to design something that can fly that's not seen in nature.
This is where we pivot to ancient aliens.
Yeah.
Ancient aliens.
Why did they all create pyramids?
Yeah.
And they're all like on the same latitude too. It's fucking wild.
Real quick, the cocaine mummies were actually fake mummies that people took a lot of drug addicts and then made them into mummies and sold them.
All right.
That's where that comes from. Hand up.
Smart move.
We'll redact my Cleopatra's a coke whore comment.
Yeah.
I think she probably did some blow though.
Yeah.
Like whatever the equivalent of back then
She didn't mark anything. That's like one of my favorite facts about the Great Pyramids is that we are closer in time to Cleopatra than Cleopatra was to the construction of the Great Pyramids.
Wow.
Like that's how old those are.
How many giant mounds that like are unrecognizable now might have been ancient pyramids?
They're finding them all over
like
the rainforest in South America because now they're like clearing fields and they also have this technology called LiDAR, which is just lasers, and they can like, well, that's clearly a man-made structure that's been taken over by the rainforest, but used to be a city.
Yeah.
Well, we got to do an episode on like the untouched civilizations that still exist out there.
Oh.
Like the islands,
dude.
What's the name of that island?
North Sentinel Island,
the Sentinelese people.
Dude, fuck.
And that one guy was like, I'm gonna go talk to them.
He went back. He went there the first day, and they shot an arrow at him, and it hit his Bible, and it stopped him. And then he swam like 2 miles back to his boat, and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go back tomorrow, guys.
Yeah, because
don't worry, I got this."
No, but you know why? Because God saved him the first time. He thought he was on like the Bible got hit by the arrow, so he was like, "Oh fuck." God saved me. Like, he's definitely going to do it again. He wants me to give these people Christianity.
Meanwhile, God's upstairs. He's like, dude, I just fucking saved your life.
Dude, I put an arrow through my own book for you.
Yeah,
that was a warning.
Bro, you think that meant I was trying to help you?
I'm not trying to. No, but
maybe if you were meant to go there, I wouldn't have them try to kill you the first time.
No, but
and I would have gone there 500 years ago.
Yeah.
There was a quick video I saw online recently of some of them having a peaceful confrontation with the North Sentinelese. I'll find the video, but
I haven't heard about that. In fact, I heard that even like neighboring islands that are filled with native people that also don't see much of the outside world, like the Sentinelese will kill them on sight too. It's just everybody that's an outsider.
I mean, that's how you end up like that. If you just have a culture of like thousands of millions of years of just being like, you see someone new, kill them on sight.
I kind of want to.
Bet you the Aztecs wish they had that playbook.
Yeah. They actually, like, in retrospect, maybe a good idea for them to have done that.
They've probably been one of the. I mean, I don't know when they got there, but they might be one of the longest lasting, ethnic groups.
I want to know more about them. I want to know, like.
You want to take a trip?
They probably have. Billy, that's your assignment.
Dude,
go explore the North Sentinelese people and find out about their culture and history.
Bro rescue. Yo, you gotta let chicks in.
Yo, your ratio is all whack here.
Where are the kegs?
Yeah. No, it's I bet you they have a fascinating history that nobody knows anything about, and they've got their own mythology probably. I want to know their stories. I want to know like who's considered to like their own internal legends that they tell about themselves. There's some great characters.
There was a ship that crashed there, and it was like the first time they were ever introduced to like metal and stuff. They like took over a giant cargo ship, and like they were finally introduced to metal, and they started like making things with it. You can look it up; it's insane.
That's North Sentinel Island too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they turned it into weapons. Like they turned scrap metal into like an axe.
We should just
imagine getting hacked.
So that's a bad break for that missionary. Like now we got metal too.
Yeah.
What if we just airdropped a bunch of pornography to them? What do you think they would do with that?
What we do?
Yeah.
Just give
them a bunch of weed. Just mellow them out for a while. That's actually the move. Is get them real stoned and then approach
like
them.
A beehive.
Yeah. Like smoke them out, get them nice and relaxed, and then we come up. We bring our like a great band with us. We play a concert for them. They're all chilled out, and now they're our friends.
What happens when like planes fly over them?
They can't. I don't think they allow that. Yeah, you can't.
Who's they? Who is they that doesn't allow that?
I think it's
like the FAA. Like you got like an international.
It's some country that's nearby that like protects those waters.
Where is it geographically?
It's near India. I think it's near India, right?
Okay.
India and maybe Cambodia or Laos.
Yeah, I was actually another interesting topic. I think we talked about this before, but the cargo ship worshiper, the cargo plane worshippers. During World War II, there was a lot of islands that had never been in contact with like the industrialized world, and they saw these American planes going overhead and dropping stuff, and they thought that they were gods. I'll pull it up.
I think it's Indonesia actually.
I was gonna say because like who's technically stopping them?
Yeah.
You know, and then also like okay, if a plane, let's even be super generous and say a plane is like 10,000 feet over them. I don't think these people have any.
Indian archipelago in the Bay of Bengal.
Yeah.
So it's India.
It looks like the closest country to it would actually be Myanmar.
Okay.
But yeah, that Bay of Bengal.
Like, would they? I don't think the Sentinel people would be able to have anything to like technically like, shoot that plane down, right?
Probably not. Nothing.
Not that we know of.
Not that we know of, but
they might have fucking cannons for arms,
right?
Like,
but don't they? But don't we have like pictures of like the overhead kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think they have a rule that you're not
like,
allowed to fly over it.
You can't just commercially fly
and like
over it.
And shipping lanes are rerouted around.
Okay.
Dude, their like genome must be insane. Like to think about how many years of number one inbreeding, number two natural selection, like that's crazy for thousands of years.
Yeah, we got to get you over there studying, man. We got to get you over there, teach them beer pong. Just chill them out for a while. They need Billy football. They probably won't kill you, Billy.
You're likable. You wouldn't say anything stupid or offensive.
They couldn't understand me. I brought them a 30 rack of Coors Light, got hit with an arrow. It was like, Coors Light saved me. It'll
Billy
save me again.
Yeah.
How would you go about letting them know that you were actually like totally sweet?
I have no idea.
You'd probably just try to race them. Just be like, look how fast I am.
But what if they're like super fast?
They might be. We don't know.
But what if you're faster? I think that's worse.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, D3 football, and you just dust them, and they're like, this guy's dangerous. We got to kill him.
I would like to know, but I think it's just one of those things that. Why haven't they tried to explore outside? Why haven't they sent somebody like as an ambassador? Because they see the ships going by. They've experienced outsiders occasionally. Has there ever been somebody that's like tried to get away, like the Truman Show, where they're like, surely
they have like their own Rumspringa. They go over to Thailand for a while.
There must be something else out there.
Well, do they have boats?
I think
they have like those little canoes. Yeah.
I feel like if anyone tried to get away, though, like they would just die.
Yeah, I mean, other people. Like, do you want to meet other people? I don't. I'd be like, you guys do your own thing. I'm sitting here in North Sentinel Island.
Or there's a culture of the outside is
very bad,
and we are the good.
Well, it might also be they might have just constructed the perfect civilization. Maybe they have perfect intelligence about the outside world.
Yeah,
and they're thinking to themselves like, hey, other people in this world kind of suck. Like, there's all these wars going on out there. People hate each other. There's fights over resources and land. We're actually, you got everything.
We're
you
a
need
unified
right
front.
What if they're awesome? What if it's actually the coolest society ever, and they quite correctly know that they should not try to escape?
It's crazy though that like
they probably have an awesome drug that we don't know about. That's probably it.
Totally. It's so crazy though that after all of these years, there's just a universal understanding that no one fucks with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not like, I mean, America seems like the assholes that would like try and go and be like, we got this. Like no one touches them. Everyone gets it.
It's like the last place on earth.
Exactly. It's like the last place on earth. Well, it's like no one is trying to fuck with them.
Before World War II, there was a lot of islands like this, but Japan, when they're expanding their empire, they hit a bunch of them, and just like did not. I'm not sure of the specifics, but like they
did what they did in World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, like they're just lucky that they didn't get to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody should go. Maybe send a drone over. I want to know more about them. They seem very fascinating.
It's like that movie Arrival. Like you're like, I don't even know how you would talk. It's like they're an alien.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, so there's also, if we go back to flight and the study of flight in ancient civilizations, there's a lot of people think that the Nazca lines that you see down in South America, some people think that they're, ancient crop circles, or some of them are designed like animals on the ground. There's some that look a lot like runways that would be 2 miles long in perfectly straight lines that could have been used to land something back in the day. I just think that
Could you land something on a Nazca line, you think?
What type of aircraft?
I don't know, Cessna?
Yeah, Cessna.
Yeah.
For sure. Cessna, you don't even have to land it. I could land a Cessna with my eyes closed.
That guy just did.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I've never flown before.
Everybody talked about how remarkable and amazing that was, and I guess it is.
Wait, so stop there.
To me, it illustrates how easy it is to do, not how difficult.
Yeah, like what do I need 10,000 flight hours for? Just give me a plane.
Like if any Joe Schmo can land a plane, that kind of is a counter argument to it being like a remarkable feat.
Well, a Cessna's a bike compared to other planes.
Sure, and it was a small plane, but he landed the plane.
It's a testament to how good the air traffic controller was that talked him down.
That could also be true.
Kept him calm. But I mean, it's a basic principle of you watch your speed, you've got your angle of approach, make sure that you're not going too fast and that you are lined up with the runway.
I mean, if you think about it, there's only one thing you can't crash into when you're in the plane. The ground.
That's true.
Like, it's not like you're going to hit anything up there usually.
Yeah.
Besides other planes.
But you do have, the thing is you have to land eventually.
Yeah.
And when the very nature of landing is crashing into the ground at a controlled
slowly.
pace. Yeah, like crashing accurately into the ground.
All right, now crash into the concrete very slowly.
I think I'd be able to land a fighter jet more easily than I could land like a Cessna.
No.
I know all about the ILS landing systems. I'd landed an airplane on an aircraft carrier last night. I landed an F-18. I bought an F-18 yesterday. About 2 hours after I purchased it, I landed it onto an aircraft carrier at night. I hit the tower, and there was some smoke and some flames, but I found it nonetheless.
Wait, you're buying planes online?
Yeah.
And you think the NFTs are stupid?
Yeah, I can fly my planes.
But, like, why don't you just buy a game where you can fly them all for free?
Because that game doesn't exist.
It does.
No, not a realistic. Also, it's not a game. It's a realistic aviation combat simulator. So,
like, come on, Billy.
Come on. Yeah, you can buy games, Billy, all day.
Sorry.
Go play with your little joysticks. No, I landed a fucking F-18 last night. A little respect on the show would be nice.
An apology would be nice, actually.
Yeah. So let's see. I've landed an F-18. I've landed an A-10A. I've landed an F-14B. I've landed an F-15 and an F-16.
Wait, how many planes do you own, and how do you make money in this flight simulator?
Not everything is about making money. I own 6 planes. One came free with the game when I downloaded.
Oh wait, you're using real money to buy these planes. You can't earn money.
No, I'm spending money. Yeah.
This isn't game money. I've
spent about $1,000 on
it's Dave and Buster's tickets.
Oh my god.
Well, Billy, you get what you pay for, and in this game, do you think there are people the simulator? Do you think people are just sitting around designing these aircrafts that have 100% realistic cockpits and functional buttons and navigation and radar systems that you have to know how to use, and new weapons upgrades and things. I think people are just doing that for free, and you're going to get any sort of a quality product.
When World War III starts and he knows how to fly an F-18, you don't. You're going to feel really stupid.
I'm going to be Randy Quaid. I'm going to be Randy Quaid from Independence Day.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. Looking at, so the whole of the young male population in America played Warzone for the whole of quarantine. That's based in a place in Ukraine, and then the Ukrainian war starts. Like, you want to talk about a psyop to get people ready for the
How do we
impending?
know that the
Good point.
Hey guys, I got to go do a snake draft, but I love doing this. So
yeah,
thanks a lot
every
for
time
having
you,
me.
Chief.
yeah,
Thank you, Chief.
It's been great
We'll have
having
you
you
back on
on
again soon. Big T?
I was just going to comment on the geography of what Verdansk.
Yeah,
It is vaguely Russian, but it's also like an island with mountains.
Yeah.
And all this. The geography of Verdansk made no sense.
It doesn't accurately reflect the Eastern European plain.
Verdansk is based off of.
Now, Big T, on the simulation that I engage in, it does reflect that geography. In fact, the entire terrain is modeled. I can fly.
I would hope so for several $100.
Verdansk is inspired by the Ukrainian city of Donetsk, which I will try to pronounce now. Donetsk, which was partially destroyed during the war in Donbass. Specifically, the airport is inspired by the Donetsk airport, and the modern-day stadium was inspired by the Donbass arena.
Need to bring Verdansk back.
They do. I miss Verdansk.
Should have never gotten rid of it.
I agree.
They should have just had two options. And then we're in the Pacific now.
Have y'all played the King Kong and Godzilla
I need to go do that. Do you want to go do that tonight?
I got to be up at the skies.
In the skies? Do you want to play tonight, Big Z?
Possibly.
Fortnite's better.
It kind of rocks.
Fortnite's better anyways now. They brought no build back.
Yeah, that's why I never got into Fortnite. It was too much building.
There's no build now.
I've got a no-fly zone in northern Azerbaijan that I have to enforce, so good luck with your little game.
You know, have any of you guys read Ender's Game?
No.
Ender's Game is an amazing book. I read it. It was basically about this futuristic civilization. There's a war with aliens, and they're training all these pilots, and they're all children, and they're all basically part of a genetic engineering thing to like create superhumans who are really good fighters. And anyway, they put all of these kids through schooling, right? And it's all supposed to be simulations. And then at the end of their simulations, they realize that they were actually piloting like drones, and that they actually beat a bunch of aliens and saved the Earth. But they didn't tell them it was real because it would have affected their lack of experience. Whereas if they thought that it didn't have that big of consequence, they were supposed to be trained and then used when they were older, but the alien threat was too fast, so they needed to use them as children.
Did you spoil Ender's Game for everybody?
Yeah, I think put in a. If you don't want the Ender's Game plot spoiled, please fast forward, even though it's a book from the 80s. You might be Ender's Game right now. You might be actually piloting missions and you have no idea.
That'd be sick.
The U.S. military is just outsourcing.
That'd be sick. I hope so. You guys should all
No,
be
I hope
so
not.
lucky.
You suck.
You should be so lucky. I'm pretty good.
You crashed into the machine tower, you said.
Yeah, I did, but it was my first time trying to land an F-18 Super Hornet at night onto an aircraft carrier.
How much does an F-18 Super Hornet cost in your game? In money.
I think it was on sale. Yeah, simulator, thank you. It was on sale yesterday, so I think I only paid $59 for it. But you get all the features that go along with it. You get dozens of missions you can fly with it. It's well worth it.
There is a time I would have made fun of someone who spent real American currency on a video game, but a couple summers ago I got really into MLB The Show and spent an amount of money.
There you go. It's no different than somebody that
to purchase fake money on the game to then buy players to play on my team.
Okay. Yeah, that's something.
Yeah.
But it's no different than buying, you go out, you buy a PlayStation 4, and then you buy all the different games for it.
So you're buying, so how much game time do you get from a new plane?
A lot. Almost unlimited, because you can also run instant missions that are completely randomized, so it's scenarios you haven't seen before.
So when you buy a new plane, it's like buying a new game.
Yeah, it's like buying a new game. It's essentially the same thing where you're in a plane, you have missions, whether they be air to air or air to ground or reconnaissance. You just have to exercise those missions.
Huh.
Yeah. So a little respect on the digital combat.
Okay, no,
I franchise.
I just thought you're just buying. Anyway,
I also bought a $150 thing that clips onto my hat that I can use to look around the screen,
now
and my field of vision changes.
That I see value in.
Yeah,
but I know why you just didn't go full VR.
I probably will. That's probably the next thing up, is to just put the goggles on.
Actually, I don't think you can stream from that though.
Well, the problem is, I think you can. I think there's a way to do it, but my issue with that is, I think at that point my fear of heights would kick in, and my vertigo ish. I don't
forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't want to disparage Coley, but my whatever issue I have with anxiety in open
Dude,
air heights.
You guys start. So I was cliff jumping this weekend. I'm terrified of heights, but once I jump off the first time, that's the hardest. But then I can keep jumping after that.
Yeah.
But it's having a fear of heights gets you so much more of a rush when you're cliff jumping. We got to go one time.
I don't think so. I think I'm out. It sounds nice for you. Let's do some voicemails, and then we can call it.
Do you want to do those today or just save them for Wednesday?
It's a good question.
Because we're at well over 3 hours.
Oh, we are?
Just for tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. We've
been in here for 5
podcasting
hours.
for 5 hours.
We must go on.
Let's save the voicemails. That's good.
Yeah,
I need to get the.
We have voicemails from last week too that we didn't get to.
Okay, tell you what. How about this? Let's do one voicemail today. Okay, our one voicemail.
Our voicemail.
And then we'll do the rest on nanodosing, which will come out Thursday. And then, once again, stay tuned. Next week, we have Professor Brian Cox. He's a professor of particle physics. And we talked to him for about an hour and a half. It is fantastic.
Brain scrambling. Super smart guy. I feel smarter and simultaneously more anxious and more at peace from our discussion that we had with him. See, I feel dumber.
You feel dumber?
Yeah.
I kind of feel a bit. There were some parts that I did not.
I learned.
It's just humbling.
Yeah, it's That's a good. I was humbled.
Humbling.
And Arian totally fanboyed out on him.
Oh my god, I've never seen Arian like that.
By the way, before I came in, did they say that he looked like Josiah Joyner?
No, I said that he was the second smartest person that we've had on the show, behind the guy that injected frog DNA into his body.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, ready?
Hey guys, it's Gavin from Rockford, Illinois. My question this week was, what is something that we as like a species or society just accept happens, but like doesn't make any sense to you personally? Like I don't understand how like water sweats through a cup. Like it's completely covered in plastic, but it'll just like sweat through. I just don't get it. So yeah, anything like that you guys have, that'd be awesome. Arian, Mad Dog, you're all gorgeous. Everyone else is handsome. Love y'all.
Okay, good
so
question.
The sweat through the cup thing.
He's talking condensation.
Yeah, that
perspiration.
Craziest thing because I asked this question. The water's not from inside the cup. So like for the Gatorade bottle, it's actually the air, the water in the air, which is hot, hitting the cold and becoming back to its liquid form.
Damn, Billy, take him to church.
Physics.
Damn. I did not know that. Very interesting, Billy. I've got a couple different answers. The easy one would just be the internet. Mm-hmm. We all just kind of accept that the internet is just here. That's all around us, especially like when it comes to 5G and your LTE service that you have. You just kind of accept that, like, okay, I'm always connected to everything I need to be connected to. The other thing is, I heard somebody talking about this the other day, but I never really thought about it in the abstract, and it made sense. We just kind of all accept that everybody needs a car, that like cars are like super, super necessary. And it's partially because of how like our country is spread out that you do need motor vehicles. But in most of the country, you need cars to be able to survive, not only for like going to your job, but also buying food, things like that. It's just accepted that, okay, if you want to survive in America, you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars on a metal box that will take you around, that you also need to spend hundreds of dollars a month putting fuel into to get from place to place. It's just kind of a weird thing to think about, because I know a lot of other countries aren't as dependent on cars, and it's just not something that they ever consider. But in America, we've all agreed on the fact that you need to have a car for the most part, and then an entire subculture of people that love cars has popped up underneath that, which I'm not disparaging those people because cars can be fascinating, and like I'm totally supportive of people having hobbies and finding things that they love to tinker with and things like that. But it's just something that I think we all take for granted is like, oh shit, there's this major purchase that you really have to make if you want to be successful or have a fruitful life in this country.
I have 2, or actually I have 3. 1, Bluetooth. I don't get how my AirPods and my phone connect.
How they talk to things?
Nope, don't get it. And I don't think it's one of those things I want to know. Like I think it's all with Wi-Fi. I don't know. Don't want to know. The second is how cameras work.
Yeah.
How does that?
Yeah, I think about that sometimes.
I took a photography class in high school and we had to make our own cameras, and it was like with like a oatmeal, like Instant Oats can where you like open and close you like cut a hole in it and you make your own picture. And
wait,
it's like,
how does that happen?
Exactly.
Magic?
It's like light saturation.
So you open the top of the container.
No, so you have the like Quaker Instant Oats, the round one. You like poke a hole in the side of it, and then you have your camera film. I might be butchering this. This was like 6 years ago, and then you have your camera film on the inside. And then you like tape over the hole, so like your lens is closed. And then we would open it and close it, and you would go develop it like in the dark rooms, and.
So the film, the piece of film paper, or whatever it's called, is like super sensitive to light?
Yeah.
So you're essentially burning it. You're burning an image into it.
Yeah, and then you would go in and you would dip it in like the chemicals to develop it. But again, sometimes it wouldn't develop, or sometimes it would overexpose, or like how did I do that?
Yeah.
I don't get that.
I don't really think about cameras that much either, or like digital cameras, how that works.
Or like even our phone camera. Like
you just point it at something and then, oh shit,
and it knows
that's something that actually happened.
Or if we're thinking deeper, how if you're in Photoshop and you take a picture, you can like erase an object. How does Photoshop know what was behind the image if the camera had like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Whoa.
Wait. It doesn't know what's behind the image. It just uses the colors on the border of whatever it is to fill it in
and
with.
the surrounding
Billy's
pixels.
Nailing it today. But that, and then lastly, I don't get how taxes work. Well, obviously we all know that, but in terms of how the IRS doesn't tell me how much I owe, so I have to take an educated guess, and if I get it wrong, I have to go to jail.
I think the real reason that is because then you'd have to eliminate a lot of the privatized CPAs in companies that do taxes.
I mean, he won't stop today.
He won't stop. Billy's on one right now.
I took my lines, man.
But you know what I mean? Like, if the government knows how much I owe,
yep.
Why put me through all that work rather than just tell me, hey, here's $800 or you owe $800 or
well, they
whatever. Don't
really.
Like, am I letting them know when I do my taxes?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So why don't more people lie?
I think a lot of people do.
Because there's a chance that you might get
arrested,
audited, and you're fucked.
All right, those are good ones, Maddie.
Also, I wanted to give you guys an update. I checked my credit score the other day. Phenomenal.
Let's go. What are we at?
747.
Damn.
My fucking credit score is plunged because of the expense fucking people.
How does that affect your credit score?
Because I use the credit card to put my expenses and they don't pay me back in time.
Got it.
Big T, what's one thing?
I mean, you could just say like any technology thing, but I think I've said on here before, like I'm not scared of planes at all, but most times I'm on a plane, I find myself thinking like I have absolutely no idea what's keeping this in the air.
Yeah.
And I feel like we should have a more working understanding.
Well, so you've got the basic forces that act on a wing. So you've got the thrust, that's the speed of the airplane going forward. Mm-hmm. And then that creates lift underneath the wings. The wings are angled at such a position that they use the air pressure. Like when you just like swing a tennis racket, for example, you can feel the air pushing back a little bit on it. That's probably a bad example because a tennis racket has, the strings.
I know what you're saying.
But you can feel like a little bit of that air resistance. So if you go fast enough and the air is pushing at 200 miles per hour on these wings that are slightly angled, it's going to push that thing up. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense to me for something that does not weigh like millions of pounds.
Yeah, it just goes really fast, and it's actually lighter. I don't think it weighs millions of pounds.
Yeah, well, however much.
But it pushes it up, and the materials that it's made out of is like light enough where it can cause it to fly as long as it's going a certain speed. Aircraft carriers, on the other hand, I don't know how they stay afloat.
That's the same thing though with boats. Like, how does a cruise ship not sink? Yeah. Besides the Titanic,
they don't really know.
Really?
No, boat designers, they just kind of
guess.
Yeah, they just kind of guess. Yeah, there's no real science to it. They're just like, this thing looks like it floats.
You saying that's never gonna? I'm now gonna be afraid to go on a boat.
Yeah, nobody knows, not even the Navy.
Wait, now are you fucking with me?
Yeah,
not even Noah, bro.
It's just easier to be like, yeah, somebody built a boat one day and it worked, and they're like, okay, let's keep building that thing. That's a good one though, Big T. Avery.
So, mine was like pretty similar to Big T's. Did you see the thing about Mike Clevenger? What happened with him in the plane?
No. Yeah.
Oh, you might not want to look it up then. It's one of the scariest things I've ever heard about a plane ride ever.
Okay, well now you got to tell me.
Well, now you got to look it up. But yeah, basically what happened is there was an electrical problem on the plane, and it did like a nosedive for like 20 to 30 seconds, it said, or something, 15 to 20 seconds. And like the pilot was like screaming, like, put your masks on, put your masks on. And he said he was like trying to text his family. He couldn't, like he froze up. But I guess eventually like the plane like leveled out. But I don't know.
Wow, yeah, I'm reading the story right now. So I guess it hit a dead air pocket maybe?
Like a legit nosedive. And he said like the cabin was like filling with smoke. Could you imagine?
No, like I would never fly again.
I was just going to say, that'd be my last flight. One way or the other.
Yep.
And it's like so rare, but
holy shit.
Did that have to do with that Boeing? That Boeing malfunction?
I don't think so.
Because that was just taking planes straight down.
Yeah. I'm reading on this right now. I don't know.
Crazy.
This makes me not want to fly either.
I know. You know who told that to me? Frankie. We were on a golf course filming Trent's Breaking 90, and like there were a bunch of planes flying over from JFK, and he just told me the story. I'm like, dude, like we travel all the time together. Now how am I supposed to get on a plane? And I'm not afraid of planes, but that story is like chilling. I can't even imagine.
Nope. No, thank you. Billy, do you have one? You know everything.
Yeah. Why can't I get gains?
Yeah, you're not lifting hard enough. All right, that does it for today's Macrodosing. We will see you guys on Thursday for Nanodosing. And again, stay tuned for next week's Macrodosing with Professor Brian Cox. Thank you to Chief for coming on. Thank you to Arian and Coley. Thank you to Billy, Avery, Go Rangers, Big T, and Mad Dog. We will see you guys in 2 days. Love you guys.